Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds.
Lawrence?
Welcome back, everyone, to the Netherkast. This is episode 121. I am your host, Razor. And what do I want? My face on the $1 bill. Living in a society with me this week, Shad is here to remind you, never rub another man's rhubarb.
Oh, you want to get nuts? Oh, come on! Let's get nuts.
In addition, we have Django. He's an agent of chaos. He's like a dog chasing cars. He wouldn't know what to do if he caught one.
There's two.
And Smoke Man, you are my number one. A guy.
A guy.
Let the good times roll.
Our friends. They're not bad people. We should, give them a few days to think it over. No? Okay.
So let's talk about what this episode is really about.
Grease them now? Okay, seriously. A lot's been happening. Interesting stuff.
So you guys might remember a year ago when we mentioned that there was a leak about an animated movie with Joel McHale playing Johnny Cage, and that's kind of all we knew about it at the time. Well, it's a real thing, and it's got a trailer, and it was pretty fucking good, actually.
It's got some nice box art. The old MK Dragon logo is back.
Two eyebrows. The proper logo.
It's like my son, who left for cigarettes ages ago, came home.
With cigarettes. It's really cool looking.
Yeah. So I thought general first impressions, and then I'd kind of like to go into it like in depth, scene by scene.
All right.
All right. So the first thing I want to mention is I'm actually. So in terms of, like, negativity, I've seen two common complaints. One is about the art style. And I kind of like this art style. It reminds me of some mid-2000s cartoons like the Ninja Turtle show of that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got that angular feeling.
Very
kind of a slight little throwback to Journey Begins if you're into that kind of thing, although not quite as simplistic.
I kind of want to say it's a little bit Bruce Timm, which I guess by proxy makes it a little bit Defenders.
I would say
which
that there's maybe a bit of Bruce Timm influence in like a lot of animation over the past 20 or 30 years, and that it reminds me of the skins, the weird action figure skins from MKX. You remember the Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Ermac, and Reptile had?
I do.
Funny you should mention that. Because MKX, kind of the main inspiration for all the looks.
Yeah, the entire, like, all of the costume design, except for Johnny Cage and Shang Tsung, because Shang wasn't in MKX. They're all MKX primary costumes.
I don't like it, but that comes with an asterisk. I think that the style makes a lot of those costumes better because, like, Sonya's wearing fucking green, Sub has a blue fucking mask, and it gets rid of all the fucking redundant shit like the kunais on his fucking.
Oh yeah,
wrists.
these outfits definitely look better in animation than they did in that game.
There's a little streamlining going on. If there's a big problem with a lot of the new outfits, it's over-design.
Yeah. See,
this makes them look
is
more palatable.
Exactly what I've been thinking for a long time. If we could do like a pared-down version of those things, back to like, I think the sweet spot was like between 4 and Deception, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, like, that's what I like about these. And also, like, if you're gonna retell MK1 in the NRS games art style, I think these are the best way to go, because I'm really glad they're not 9 skins.
Well,
like,
for the most part, yeah. Like,
I don't want to see that Scorpion.
I'll take most of X's over 9s. I've actually seen people going, man, but 9 had the best everything.
Ugh.
Oh, God.
I know, right?
No.
Like, maybe a few things here or there, but God, certainly not everyone, and certainly not Scorpion.
Like, the interesting thing about a lot of the primaries in that game was that they were, like Kitana, for example. The time when Kitana would be wearing ninja clothing is MK1, 2, and 3. Like, after she left working for Shao Kahn, she wasn't an assassin anymore. So if you're going to ever use that skin, it should be in a throwback, chronologically. That's not a present-day skin, that's a quote-unquote tournament skin, you know?
No one looks really bad,
No,
I know.
and
Reptile kind of stands out to me as a little bit odd, given just how little, like, human disguise is going on.
Yeah, the thing about Reptile is, I mean, storytelling-wise, there's a lot of choices that were introduced in the new timeline where, like, throwing away core character concept things, like the fact that Reptile was ever disguised is just gone now, and it's not part of the lore anymore, and we kind of just have to deal with that.
I'm not surprised that the outfits are from X and 9. I just, I was still hoping to see a little bit more original influence. I suppose I'll get that when Liu Kang takes... Yeah, I'll get that when Liu Kang takes his shirt off, at least, for the last battle, so I'm assuming it's going to happen.
I mean, I do hope he does, because this, I mean, the costume he's wearing, like that MKX primary, if you took the shirt off, it is his classic pants. Yeah. It's his MK2 pants. And one thing I really like about there are little changes that they made. For example, they made Sonya's MKX outfit green, which is a huge improvement. And another thing is, like, obviously, Liu Kang's primary, he was an old man with gray hair, so they gave him his normal hair, and that improves that costume enormously for me. Like, I never played Liu in the primary because I didn't like the hair. The thing about the art style, I think, is, like, I can kind of see where people who don't like it are coming from. The angular look of it is not... It's not, like, naturally aesthetically pleasing. It is an acquired taste.
I don't know.
It clicked with me pretty much right away.
I've seen people say, like, oh, their eyes are triangles. Like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, so?
Yeah,
is that a bad thing?
I don't see how that's... Like, so... People who are complaining about this art style, I would love to hear their thoughts on the Malibu comics.
I don't know.
Some of that was beautiful, most of it was not, and that was Kikich and Sammy.
I want to see eyes that are triangles. That was really the only shape they came in.
I think back to the first time I saw the TMNT series from the 2000s, and yeah, like, that was my thought then as well. Everyone's really angular, it's all odd, but like you said, acquired taste, and I got used to it, and that became more and more of a common thing going forward. Just it's not that out of the ordinary to me.
I grew up on that cartoon, so that art style is just kind of what I'm used to.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, I grew up in the late 80s, early 90s, the TMNT Fox Kids, what was it, 2005? Show?
Yeah.
That wasn't my first Ninja Turtle show, obviously,
I think it's 3.
It's 3.
Oh, 3, you're right. But so that wasn't my first Ninja Turtle show, obviously, but I think it's the best, and I think it's still the best. Like, I know there's a lot of people who will vouch for the CGI Nickelodeon cartoon, and it had some good episodes, but I can't stand the Beast Boy voice actor, and he's Michelangelo in that show.
To be fair, he's a nice fit.
My problem is...
They could have done worse.
So Michelangelo isn't stupid. He's just kind of a surfer dude personality. And everything the Beast Boy guy plays is like an 11-year-old who can't stop, like, knocking over the expensive lamp. You know?
He's got a bit of, like, the ADHD going on.
Yeah, I hate it. I hate it so bad.
But in fairness,
Beast Boy...
like that, they write him as kind of like an idiot savant, in that once you get him on his track, he really knows what he's doing. So moments like that are fun. But I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, I just really can't... I have, like, PTSD towards anything that looks and sounds like Beast Boy.
Another complaint I'm seeing about this animated movie is that the animation looks bad. And
the animation, like, the fight scene footage looks rad as fuck to me.
Yeah.
I don't know where these people are coming from. Maybe they're
I think that it's hard to say this, but I think it's people who just don't like MK, and they watch anime, and they don't realize that most animation looks choppy as fuck.
Here's the thing, like, I've watched a lot of, like...
That's why I never liked anime as a kid, because I thought that it looked choppy as shit. Like, that's just an animation thing.
Like, Dragon Ball and Naruto, like, I've watched a lot of martial arts anime, and it's usually not well animated. Like, it's really cheap.
No.
I enjoy DBZ with my heart and soul, always have, but, you know...
But, like, most of the fights in DBZ are, like, this loop of, like, blurry lines moving around in the sky, and then they get their guys standing on the rocks watching and going, they're so fast I can't even follow them anymore. That's most of the fights in DBZ up to a certain point.
And when they're going back and forth in the air, it's like the same 6 animation frames repeated over
and over. And then every once in a while, it'll be a flash where you can see their bodies, and they're doing a loop of the same 3 kicks to each other. And then it'll go back to the zooming.
Like, I think...
But, like... Okay, so 2 sequences in particular that I want to point out as really, really cool looking in this trailer are the one where Hanzo is, like, mad as fuck, and the whole scene is, like, red, and he's, like, swinging a sword, and you can see the reflection of a Lin Kuei guy in the blade of the sword.
In like, at least, like... execution-wise, that fucking is anime as shit.
Yeah, that's like when anime is actually good, though.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
And like, I'm not going to say that, like, this is the anime MK I've always wanted to see, but it's pretty goddamn close.
Yeah, and, like, the second, like, the other scene that I really like is where Scorpion does this kind of spinning move and then punches Quan Chi in the stomach with both fists.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
I think that's a really rad moment.
I think my favorite has to be, like, the end where he, like, entraps the Lin Kuei. He, like, jumps in the air.
Oh, yeah, he, like, wraps his chain around the guy's neck and then yanks it and probably decapitated the guy, but...
That was great.
Yeah, that's the other thing that I wanted to bring up. The other complaint I've seen is people saying there's...
gore!
Yeah, there's no gore in the trailer, so...
It's a fucking, like, Green Band trailer.
Yeah, we need to introduce our listeners to the concept of the Green Band trailer. So everybody knows that the first thing you see in a trailer is this scene that is this, like, screen that says the following has been approved by the Motion Picture Association, blah, 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 and it says what the rating of the movie is.
That's there for a reason, because that's what's approved. That's what they can show.
Now,
you're gonna get your nastiness, just be patient.
There are 2 important things about that screen that people don't, people block that screen out of their memories because it's boring, right? They forget it's there.
They see it literally all the fucking time.
It's like white noise at the beginning of a trailer.
Like, if you look up, like, an Avengers trailer, it's not even going to have it on YouTube. It's mainly for, like, theaters and shit sometimes.
Yeah, it's usually... But, so there's 2 important things about that screen. The first is that it says what the movie's rating is on the screen. And this movie is clearly rated R for, and I quote, strong bloody violence throughout and some language. So you're gonna get your gore in the real movie. Now, here's the second important thing.
They've already confirmed this, too, that at this final combat shit...
No, yeah, I'm getting to that.
Yeah.
So the second important thing about the following preview has been approved screen is if the background is green, it means the trailer won't have the R-rated content in it. That's why we call it a green band trailer. Now, a red band trailer has a red background and will have the gore and language in the trailer. And that's because it's going to be a rated R trailer. They don't show that to the kids. They don't put that in front of like a movie that's not rated R. So we're getting the red band trailer for this animated movie at the Final Combat esports tournament, which is in March 7th and 8th.
It's going to be cool.
And the film itself is slated for, what was it,
April 12th for digital and April 28th, I believe, for physical.
Yes, there's going to be some people out there, I believe Razor is, buying 2 separate copies.
Yes,
I will as well. I am.
I would advise everybody to support this with money as much as possible so that we can get a fucking sequel.
Yeah, I'll be doing the same.
Please.
On the topic of Scorpion, so the other thing is that, you know, people are going, why is it called Scorpion's Revenge? This doesn't appear to be about Scorpion himself. This just appears to be about, this looks like a retelling of the first MK game. Well, there it is.
Yeah.
They're using the character's name for marketing purposes.
Yeah, so...
And although you know, you do see him and Quan Chi interacting, so they're going to stuff a little bit more of his stuff in there.
I want to get to that
but
in the frame-by-frame, the play-by-play, but...
This is an ensemble cast.
In terms of, like, the phrase Scorpion's Revenge, he kills Sub-Zero at the first fucking tournament, right?
Yeah.
I hope you newbies ain't coming into this looking for Bihan to survive, because it's really not about to happen.
I actually have one criticism so far, like, that I think is legitimate, is that Steve Blum is voicing Bihan.
Yeah.
That's gonna be fucked up.
He's got a little bit of range. I'm sure he could, like, do a separate evil voice if he really tried.
I think Blum's range is limited to himself growling and then monster characters like Reptile. And I think he's playing Reptile in this because he's not listed in the credits as Reptile, but the noises Reptile trailer kind of sound Steve Blummy to me.
So I think we just established Reptile probably has no lines.
He might. I mean, for all we know, the only scene he shows up in is the fight with Sonya.
That'd be a shame.
Nobody seems to remember that he's supposed to be Shang's bodyguard.
I mean, he's got so many now.
Hey, Django, how you doing?
Oh, hi there.
Hey.
What are your thoughts?
So far, I agree. I've been listening. I've been learning. I've been watching the trailer alongside.
It's pretty cool, ain't it?
Had you seen it yet up till now?
Yes, I had.
Okay. Scared me for a moment there.
No.
It's also a thing because it's like...
It looks like Mark of the Ninja. I'm surprised that a lot of people were put off by the art style.
But Mark of the Ninja was one of... Mark of the
Ninja.
Mark of the Ninja is a good call. Like, that was one of my favorite Xbox 360 generation games.
Mine too. It was good.
I have not played this.
It's good. It was like it was a live arcade game, so it can't be that expensive.
No, okay. That sounds cool.
And it's fun.
You want to do it frame by frame now, or scene by scene?
Yeah. So let's get into it. So the first thing we see are a few sort of rapid flashes of scenes while Raiden's narrating your world defend in the tournament, blah, blah, blah. So the first shot...
We see the Nether ship.
Yes, we see Shang's boat, which already this thing is better than MK9.
It is true and sad.
Yes.
All I ask is a tall ship and a star to steer her by. Then we see
And there's
some
probably
some
going
like
to be a handful of people on the leaky boat. How about that?
so then we see some like craggy rocks. It sort of looks like it kind of reminds me of when Jax and Jackie are going to the island in MK11.
Mm-hmm.
The boat sailing through like the really rocky shores of the island and stuff.
The next shot that we see is Scorpion in the air.
Yeah, there's a flash of him indoors fighting somebody. We're not
he's
sure
like
who.
whipping his chain around all over him like Daredevil or something.
Yeah, and then the next shot after that is Sub-Zero throwing a freeze at him and him teleporting out of the way, and it looks like they're on the pit. And it's specifically the NRS pit, so the pit 2, which is supposed to be an outworld, not on the island. But, nah.
I've learned, it bothered me for the longest time, but I've had to learn to let it go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's most things about the NRS timeline and stuff inspired by it, is learning to let it go.
I know, going back to the animation bit, because I really think that I really like this shot of him in the air, like just kind of whipping his chain around everywhere. People saying that the animation is bad, but I honestly don't think it, because the animation doesn't look cheap to me. Like,
No, this actually, I mean,
most
it's...
of-
So a
we
lot of
should get into
people
the
say
production.
animation... A lot of people say animation when they mean designs.
Yeah.
Like, the animation is what a thing looks like. It's how many frames, it's how smooth the motion is.
Mhm.
Designs are a separate thing.
Oh, let them go back to masturbating to Street Fighter V. Who cares?
No.
Now, I just want to say that, like, we have Scorpion fighting Sub-Zero on the pit.
Yeah.
That is assumedly where he's going to execute him.
Yeah,
One
that's
might
probably
think.
the fight where Bihan dies.
Maybe, yeah.
And I just want to say thank fucking God if that's the case. Because I don't know about you guys, but that is always where I pictured it happening in my head.
No,
I mean, I kind of... So going back to the MK2 comic... When the tournament ends, the pit is where Johnny, Sonya, and Kano fight Goro. So I always kind of imagine Scorpion and Sub-Zero somewhere else, like probably the Palace Gates.
Yeah,
That's just me.
I mean, I can see that. Like, but I was never really actually happy that it was like that info dump happened on the pit. Like, just the mental image of Scorpion and Sub-Zero up in the middle of nowhere, fighting alone on this bridge, and like revenge finally happening there.
I get it. I think
It's
the
picturesque.
The reason I was okay with like the way the comic showed things is because Sonya, Kano, and Goro all falling into the pit, so you think they're dead, and then you learn later, actually, because the island was being sucked back into Outworld, they landed in Outworld instead of on the spikes. I mean, I'm not sure how else you would do that. Because you need to get Sonya, Kano, and Goro to Outworld.
I wanted to say a thing because I want to go back to the animation bad complaint because this is done by the same studio that does a lot of the DC animated stuff.
Yeah.
And for the past few years, all of their animation after Flashpoint has looked cheap as fuck.
Yeah.
And this does not look cheap.
No, this does look significantly better than all of those new 52-based animated movies.
I assume that they're more excited to do something that's not DC, would I assume, or at least not Batman. Which is why I think
it might
maybe
be
there's
a
more.
matter of... I think those DC movies... So they put out those DC movies 2 or 3 a year, so there might be an element of being rushed involved there. Whereas this has obviously... The fact that it has MKX costume designs tells us that it's been in development since MKX. That it didn't have any influence from 11.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they've been working on this for a long time. And I mean, obviously, the first time we heard that it existed was when we heard the voice cast a year ago.
Hey, speaking of the cast, I was a little worried there because they had the same voice actress for Kitana listed as possibly performing the voice of Satoshi. And I was thinking, I was worried for a little while that they kind of messed up and maybe called Scorpion's wife Satoshi.
So
but
for people,
we've actually seen, for
people who may not know, obviously there's kind of problems with the whole what are Scorpion's wife and kids' real names thing because of the Kana and Jubei bullshit. In the game's canon, their names are Harumi and Satoshi, and you're like, well, which one's which? Well, this requires you to know a little bit about Japanese. Harumi is a female name, and Satoshi is a male name.
Yeah. So I was worried that, like, they might have misnamed Scorpion's wife, Satoshi.
Yeah.
But you can actually see, apparently, in the trailer at some point, he's got the kid on his back.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, we're gonna get to that.
They often cast women to play small boys' voices.
Yeah.
Because they're better at the high pitch. And, like, you don't want to get a real child because they're shitty actors.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So anyway...
Most of the time.
So frame by frame, we were on Sub-Zero versus Scorpion at the pit.
Also, I wanted to interject the thing about Japanese names. Hotaru is a female name, though.
Yeah, Hotaru and Reiko are both female names in Japan, but neither of those characters are from Japan, so it doesn't matter.
So fuck it. And there's more to Hotaru's name, but anyways.
Yeah, it's Japanese for firefly.
His armor, insects, flags, wings, lava.
He shoots lava. Yeah, he has a theme. It makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So yeah, animated movie.
Right. So the next scene after that is Sonya fighting Kano in what looks like a dungeon with a torture rack, and Kano shooting his eye laser at her, and she's dodging by swinging on a chain, kind of Errol Flynn swashbuckler style, which looks pretty cool to me.
I'd be tempted to maybe call it the Armory. I don't know.
Well, I mean, the Armory is Shao Kahn's armory in Outworld.
Armory? I don't know.
I think it's somewhere in Goro's lair. It's some part of the dungeons under the island.
Behind Kano, there's some sort of mill going on. Maybe there's, like...
Yeah, he's standing on, like, a grate where there's, like, lava underneath.
Yeah.
But, some people have mentioned that Kano's design...
he looks like shit.
Kano's design is a little different from MKX because he's got, like, a mohawk.
Yeah, and I don't like the cyber heart. It looks very Suhao here.
Well, that's just X, man. That's just MKX.
I mean, well, at least X, like, it was, like, full red, and it was, like, glass, like, over the whole, like rim. This is like it's indented like Suhao's.
It looks like a rejected X-Men logo. It's fucking terrible.
Yeah,
I don't know.
He does not
his
look very
entire
good
look is awful.
I don't mind it, honestly. I think...
Here's
the thing for me.
He's like the one noticeably bad part about the trailer for me, I think.
The thing for me is that Kano's hair needs to be something that could be a guy going bald. Otherwise, I don't like it. And a mohawk, because his classic MK1 look that in Deadly Alliance and Shaolin Monks was receding Bill Murray style, where there's like an M shape to it. So you can still get a mohawk with that. And I feel like in MKX he had this kind of comb-over look. And I think if you were an animator and you were trying to simplify that hair, make it easier to draw and animate, I think you would turn it into a mohawk. That's my knowledge of art. I feel like that is sort of the natural course of it.
It's not any one thing, the mohawk, the chest laser, the camo pants, it's all of it together.
I mean, that's the MKX look, though.
It's a series of less than ideal design choices.
I think
it's like less than ideal.
We fucking know that he should be wearing a fucking white shirt or some shit.
I think the thing is like the MKX Kano primary skin is not the best Kano by a long shot, but Kano as a character, like thematically, he's this ex-military mercenary, he's an arms dealer. I kind of feel like at least Camo Pants gets across those parts of the character's backstory.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, but they could be like white and gray camo pants.
They could. That's true. That would be a lot better.
That would actually be really cool.
But the thing is, like, you can't fault you can't fault the animators for not deviating from the reference material they were given. Like, it's clear from the costume designs that their intention was not to create their own looks for the characters.
And
They were just straight following the X art.
It's a mystery whether they were told to do this or this is a creative choice.
I'm not going to get upset at them for doing their jobs, you know?
Yeah.
I'm willing to bet told. I'm very willing to bet the answer is told.
Because honestly, if you were gonna say, well, why couldn't they change this about the design? Then why couldn't everybody have original outfits? You know?
Well, I've already made that question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously,
but
I feel
also,
like we're being redundant by constantly picking on the costumes when we know they're the MKX costumes.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I kind of like the Mohawk.
Okay, this isn't just me picking on the MKX costumes, though. This is just. It's a series of things about it that bother me. Also, his knife is on his belt. Why is it not in his boot?
MKX Kano had like knives all over his fucking
two
body.
different knives. Well, in one variation, it was on his back, and in I think it was cybernetic.
He has knives on his back, in his boots, in his elbows,
out of his ass.
But as I was saying, two of the Kano variations, like I said, on his back, but one of his variations had it on like the sides of his belt, like he does in that frame there.
Well, okay, that's very fair then.
Yeah, like MKX Kano was covered in knives. Spiders. It was one of the details of that skin.
Yeah. But fuck Kano. Let's move on to the next thing. It's just Sonya swinging.
Agreed.
Right. So the next thing after that is we see some people walking up the long staircase to Shang Tsung's palace like they do in the movie. I think you can, if you really squint, you can make out Raiden and Liu Kang on the stairs.
Let's see.
Let me try.
Yeah, I can see Raiden and Liu Kang and a bunch of monks.
Right.
Yeah, I can see it.
So then we see Raiden sort of coming out of the shadows, and which goes with the narration being his voice talking about the importance of the tournament and saving the Earthrealm from Shao Kahn, as he always does. I want to talk about Raiden's voice actor because it's not Richard Epcar. Which
is good.
On one hand, I'm very thankful for, because I don't like Richard Epcar's Raiden, and never have. On the other hand, the reason I don't like Epcar's Raiden is because he's very flat, boring, narrative, like, exposition, stoic guy.
Yeah.
What I want from Raiden is the sarcastic guy from the Threshold days.
I don't think you're ever really going to get that guy again. It'd be nice,
we're not. It's just really sad, though, man. So Raiden's voice actor, I think, is one of the blander choices in this voice cast.
But at least it's not Epcar.
I can't say he's turning in a bad performance. He's not going to stand out. And I feel the same way about Shang Tsung's voice actor. Like, the game has Cary Tagawa now. Couldn't we have gotten Cary?
Yeah, it's true.
I want Kevin Michael Richardson.
I will say I do like this voice actor better than fucking 9.
A little bit. They're both the same flavor of kind of snaky, generic Asian old man.
I think he sounds okay in this. I mean, when he says, we're going to get to it, when he says it's like, welcome to Mortal Kombat.
I'm going to wait.
It sounds cool as fuck.
I don't know, he's alright. He's not special. He's nothing special. And that's my... I feel like Shang Tsung is an important enough role that you should stunt cast that guy. And like Goro, they got Kevin Michael Richardson back from the movie.
That's true.
So it would have been nice to have Cary or somebody famous.
Yeah, well, it would have been nice to not have X costumes now, wouldn't it?
Well,
but if we're playing that game...
Anyway, I don't think those are the same flavor of complaint.
I'm going to hold off until I hear like the entire thing and judge the performances afterwards, because like 2 sentences is not enough. There might be some excellent lines there that we don't know about.
I mean,
I'm willing to give the benefit of the doubt.
We're focusing a lot on the negativity, and I really like all of this stuff. Like, I don't mind the X costumes. For me, the biggest complaint is that oh no, Raiden and Shang are kind of boring VAs. Which is really nitpicky.
And I'm really not hearing so much of the boringness. Yes, Carrie would have been nice, but if wishes were horses.
Well, anyway, speaking of which, so the next scene is Shang teleporting into... There's this room that it's like a second throne room. Like, we've seen the throne room, the classic throne room with the dragon logo windows from 1 and 9, the one we know. In other parts of this trailer, this room is not that room, but it also has a throne. It's like the dining room from the live-action movie.
Yeah, and the shot right after that, you can kind of see... like the giant MK logo splayed out over the floor in front of the crowd.
There's like a big like
dais
to fight on, and there's people having dinner at the tables.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, so he does this. There's this one thing I really like when he teleports in and starts giving his welcome to the tournament speech. The teleport animation is like, first you can see his skeleton a little bit, and it's like the skin comes in and then the rest of him.
I like the puff of smoke.
Yeah, it's like there's a puff of smoke, and then there's this yellow glowing body that forms bones, and then the rest of him. And I think that's really cool, because it kind of reminds me of like how how Shang gets his youth back in the MK2 comic, where Shao Kahn sort of burns the skin off him and grows it back to make him young again.
That is cool.
Also,
I do enjoy that the logo on the ground is the old logo, but I also noticed in this shot, this is common in animation, so it's not really a complaint. But I think one of our members, Jimmy the wrestler, noticed a lot of like reused.
There's the crowd shot where he's talking to the 30 to 60 some people who are at the tournament. There's a lot of reused guys in that background.
Yeah, I see one guy who's
I'm okay with
wearing
it
a green
because...
shirt. It doesn't matter. It's a nitpick.
I mean, you remember when we were watching The Journey Begins and doing the commentary and picking out all the weird-looking dudes in the crowd?
I see one guy with the green shirt that's like, doesn't even have his back turned to
not looking at Shang.
Well, I mean, it's just like 1 second. He might turn around.
There's actually a couple people who aren't facing Shang.
He's talking to some dude.
Maybe that's what people are referencing when they say they don't particularly care for the animation, that looks cheap. I don't know. Maybe that's it.
I think when you have a crowd shot this big, you have to reuse people. It's
you're
really gonna draw 32 NPCs?
Well,
it's
I think
stupid. It's a stupid.
I think the one problem maybe that it looks like there's kind of two different MK9 Sonyas there, and that particularly kind of stands out.
That is true. There are two women with like the sort of MK Sonya, like MK movie kind of look.
Yeah, but those aren't actual Sonya.
No,
There's just a chick in a tank top and booty shorts.
Yeah. I see a guy that's kind of... I see a black guy with a sash over his chest.
Yeah, there's one or two guys who are kind of dressed like Kai. It's probably just a rando. These are all randos.
There's one guy dressed like Kai 3 times, but anyway.
But yeah, so...
I'd actually like to say that Shang's outfit looks so much better right here, I find, than it does in MK9.
I agree. I really do like it. Like, I like the sort of like pointy bits at the shoulder. I like the eyes on the shoulder. I kind of like the green belt, like the green skull belt buckle.
Yeah, I will be honest. I do think the MK... I famously don't like MK9 Shang because I think the blue coat is super iconic, and I was really salty that they changed it. But I do think the red coat from 9 does look okay here. Like, one thing I really like is because of the pointy shoulders, it looks like they're dragons on his shoulders, not snakes.
Yep.
That is cool.
And I kind of like that, yeah.
Yeah, I just noticed that. Like,
he actually feels like a sorcerer again, looking at him like this. It's a great touch.
I just generally like his character model. Like, in all the shots that he's in, he looks cool.
Yeah, I've known, like, the pupils of his eyes are kind of gray, like he has them, but they're faded. I kind of like that, too.
That's cool.
So as he's giving his speech, we see like a quick shot of boulders at the dinner tables like cheering.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a Tarkatan, and there's like some green skin lady standing on the table who's got like bladed gauntlets. And in the
there's
back,
like another green dude with like a mohawk.
There's
like
the
a
far,
guy-
like in the bottom right corner, there's a
see his
lizard
hair.
guy who isn't reptile.
Yeah. I also see a guy with like suds on his back. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, and right next to him, just to the left, is a guy that looks a hell of a lot like Kim Kafwan from King of Fighters.
Yeah. I don't know what these races are. Like,
I think
are
it's
these...
interesting, but like one thing I really, really like about this shot is that all of these Outworlders are not characters from the game. Like, none of them are Baraka. Like, it really bothers me when Baraka's at the first tournament. Because he wasn't.
Also, when I saw the girl with the sharp shit on her wrists, shut up. But like, I thought that was like a Shokan at first. But on closer inspection, it's just like only 2 arms and green skin. I'm like, what is this? Like, is this some new shit?
Yeah, I think these are just supposed to like get across the idea that the races of Outworld are monstery, and I'm cool with it.
Yeah, it's alright.
It's like random.
It doesn't bother me.
Random Outworld NPCs, and I want to mention. I don't know if it's just me seeing things, but the guy in the lower right, just underneath the lizard person, kind of looks like a pale green Liu Kang wearing a red headband. If he was more angular.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy in a headband.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Hornbuckle?
That is not Hornbuckle.
Let the legend begin again here.
Right.
Indulge me.
So, right. I'm just really, really happy that we're getting a version of the MK1 tournament. You know, and all of the, like, different interpretations of the tournament that we've seen before, where it's like, they have to throw in Outworlders to fill out the bracket. You know, like, the choices MK9 made to make those Outworlders people like Baraka and Shiva, Nightwolf, Sector, and Cyrax. I'm really glad this movie's not going that route, that it's sticking...
Yeah.
Like, Kitana is in there.
Yeah.
And I understand that Kitana is maybe too important a character, that you can't do MK1 without her in these days. But I'm just super happy that otherwise they are sticking to the actual MK1 cast.
Like, I've actually never been so happy for random NPCs filling out a crowd in such a long time. It's really nice to see.
Yeah. This is one of the things I love most about the fact that we're getting this movie, is that it's doing the things right that 9 did wrong.
It's so good. I love it.
So then we you know, the next shot of Shang giving his speech is a close up on Lou, Johnny, and Sonya looking all, I don't know, serious.
They're pissed because they don't like Shang's bullshit.
Yeah, because they're like, oh no, we're in a deathmatch tournament and all these people are cheering for having the chance to kill us.
Johnny in particular in this scene, in this shot. The way his hair kind of spikes up a little bit at the front.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah,
I like it.
It's good. It's good. I like it.
I like it. I like that
Sonya...
he has the kind of like the partially see-through sunglasses. Like, they're very Hollywood. And what I really like,
of his chest.
Yeah, my favorite thing is that his shirt is open just a little bit, and he's wearing this like sleazy chain around his neck.
It's really good.
His suit is really so Miami Vice.
And I mean, it's still a bit early to tell, but he might not have the Johnny. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think he has the chest tattoo, but I'm not sure we'll see him with his shirt off in this movie because
it's possible we won't.
We only see footage of him fighting in the suit, which I'm okay with at this point. Like,
yeah.
What I really like about it, interesting thing, is that, like, I mean, obviously it's not the teal and pink suit from the MK1 comic that 9 used, but this particular color scheme, white suit with a blue shirt, was in the concept art for MK9.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah. So again,
Oh,
they
shit. Do I
are
have
using
them?
reference that NRS must have given them like a pile of images, because like Johnny doesn't have a suit and tie costume from X, so they would have had to dig into the 9 art for him, like they did for Shang.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I'm guessing they gave them a pile of the drawn concept art and not actual shots from the game.
I think we've established at this point that if anyone can rock multiple looks and just have them considered instantly iconic, it's Johnny.
Yeah.
There's like 3 variations of suit now that I'll happily see him in any day.
And I mean,
over like
let's
the
be
MK1 hot
honest,
pants.
Lyndon Ashby spent an entire hour and a half in slacks and a office shirt with his sleeves rolled up that was like teal, and we were okay with it.
It's actually really hard to fuck up Johnny's wardrobe. It really
It is. Honestly, I think the most fucked up Johnny's wardrobe is the original arcade MK1 costume.
I'm not a
With
fan
those
of
fucking
MK
slippers and the red belt.
I'm not a fan of MKDA. Like, I can dig the slippers and the hot pants.
I mean,
It's
I
of its
have a
time,
specific
like,
take on the Deadly Alliance outfit where it's clearly like midlife crisis Johnny. You know, he's dyed his hair
Yeah.
blonde and his belt is an actual door knocker. Like he's clearly it's like a parody of a martial artist's gear.
I just don't dig the foot wraps. It's too MMA.
I get it.
But anyway,
So anyway, to his or to our right is Sonya again with the MKX design. With
I just
green,
the one
fucking
liberty they
green.
took turning her green. I am so
Oh
fucking
my
happy for that.
Fucking god!
they got it. They finally got it.
Well,
Someone got it.
I also like how it's more of a vest instead of a jacket, and it's like she's got like a black shirt underneath.
It is
And
like
she
I
has,
honestly think
the
this
dog
is.
tags are really cool. I like them.
I think this costume is a really good costume. Like you
know
get
what?
rid of
It's like-
you get rid of the blue and the weird like general's rope around her one shoulder.
Yeah,
You
what
just
the
simplify
fuck is
it
that?
and it looks
It's-
so fucking good. Like I would be okay with Sonya wearing this at any game set, like any
This is-
reboot game.
This is a successful blend of classic MK1 Sonya look and modern military commander Sonya. It is just, it's ingenious.
Yeah, it's the simplicity, the beauty in the simplicity.
Black Hawk to Cardinal.
I have nice things.
down.
I have nice things to say about Sonya, and that is an achievement.
It's true.
So
It's rare.
that's very.
You do
rare.
dislike her. You
I
do.
have seen people complaining that her face is a little manly. It does look a little bit
Oh,
like
fuck them.
a JoJo's character.
No, if there's...
Yeah,
But
If
I
there's-
but
so Sonya
I'm
has
not
notoriously
complaining.
had a big jaw since versus DC Universe. At this point, I actually consider it canon.
If there's someone on this ensemble shot who's wearing a JoJo look, it's the man to the right.
Lou has
It's those lips, man. The lips and the intense stare.
and the sharp. He has the sharpest of all the cheekbones in the
Yeah.
entire trailer.
I like it. I think that Lou's character model looks really good in this game.
I'm
Aside
not.
from he's wearing a shirt, but whatever. I get it.
I'm
Speak
not.
on
I'm
it.
not unhappy with it. Like I don't mind. I actually think a little bit of JoJo reference is a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, like the details in like that sort of black line he has down the face to define the sort of facial features and the chin.
I am kind of a diehard JoJo fan, and I've been for quite some time, since the Dreamcast game, in fact. And I'll just say, it's an incredible series, it's wonderful, it's imaginative, and as long as they're not actually pulling out, like, ridiculous poses for no good reason, I'm good with Influence. I'm fine with it. Lou is wearing a really pimpin' outfit. You know, it threw me at first to actually see him with it, because, like, the kind of double over-the-shoulder look is kind of reminiscent of the ninja aesthetic, and I always kind of worry a little bit whenever someone's wearing something remotely like that. It's like, don't milk it too hard. But it's different enough to work. As far as I can tell, like, he doesn't have, like, the actual loincloth going on. But
yeah,
it's a
I
good
mean,
look for him.
it's a vest, and then under
Yeah.
the vest is his classic MK2 pants. Like I said,
And
I
think-
I would like the MKX primary if he didn't have that, like, too long gray hair. Like, if he had the regular black hair with the bangs, but the rest of that outfit was the same, I probably would have played primary MKX Liu Kang some of the time. But I never did because I didn't like his hair. This fixes it. It looks great here.
It does.
Like, I always liked the vest having the dragon logo sort of slithering up and down it like it's like a longer dragon, but it's still the head of the logo.
I feel like it'd be a good alt for like an MK2.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it at 4, like, instead of the red wife beater.
Yeah.
Now, again, on the topic of anime influence, we move to our next shot. We have Shang. I'm guessing he's sitting in a throne.
Oh, I love this shot.
This is Gendo Ikari. That's what this is right here. This is like, all he's missing is like the glowing glasses. And he's Shinji's dad. Swear to God, this is right out of Evangelion. And he's got that wonderful little smirk, the shadows beneath his eyes, like they're all hollow and sunken in. The features are reptilian. It's a very subtle shot that expresses a lot, and I could not be happier.
I'll say this. Normally, I get salty seeing old Shang with a full head of hair. I'm actually okay with it here. I think this design works well enough that the hair doesn't even bother me.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a widow's peak. There's just enough to make him look like he's lost a little bit. It's up there. A little bit.
The reason it bugs me is because Shang, I want him to look as much like Lo Pan as possible when he's in old man form. Because, like, the old version of Lo Pan in Big Trouble, where he's in the wheelchair, his hair is, like, just so thin and wispy, and it's because he's, like, 1,000 fucking years old.
He could do with some liver spots, but he is Shang, so maybe he doesn't have liver spots.
I mean, liver spots would be a lot to ask for from a cartoon, I think.
That's true.
So do we move forward a little bit, I think?
Yeah, so we've got that shot and more Raiden talking, and then it shows the planet
The Earth. Yeah. We see Scorpion in the Netherrealm being charged by a bunch of Netherrealm demons.
there's this interesting shot, and it goes back to the fact that the movie is called Scorpion's Revenge, and it's probably going to focus on Scorpion's origin the most heavily of all the main characters.
Which
We're seeing this is like right after he died.
Yeah.
And he's like he's in these like tattered rags, and all these like demons are running at him, and this is like before he has become Scorpion. And I think that's a really interesting thing to see, because I've always kind of imagined that's what it's like for him when between tournaments, when he goes back to Hell, he's just kind of on these barren lava hot plains, and demons are constantly like challenging him for territory, and it's just like this is the daily grind of Hanzo's life down there.
What you're saying is it's the worst hazing ritual ever, and it happens every single day.
And if you've ever asked, like, why in, like, MK3 would he choose to work for Shao Kahn, it's because this is the alternative. This is what it's like to stay in the Netherrealm. This is why he wants out so bad.
I mean, in MK3, he had his own plane in the Netherrealm, right?
Yeah, but you have to imagine it's full of demons. Like, it's not his just because he calls it his.
That's true, yes.
That's just where he hangs out. It's not like he built a house there.
Guy.
Let me see. I'm trying to see if there's any sort of detailed shots of these demons.
I find it
not as such, really. They're just.
I find it interesting that like there's clear, heavy visual reference from the Crossroads stage in their design of Hell. Like there's floating chunks of mountain with lava dripping off of them.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it looks a lot like the Crossroads.
As much as I've said it before, do wish that Netherrealm wasn't quite so Christian hell as it's depicted these days.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice to have the mythologies aesthetic, but I can't imagine that these DC animators even know about MK mythologies.
It's not even so much that, and no, I'm not blaming the animators at all. It's just that, it could literally be anything. We've seen so many concepts of Netherrealm's hell over the years. It always back to the default fire and brimstone.
Yeah, it is kind of a generic cliche version of the concept of hell. That's true.
That's it. That's all I'm saying.
I feel like there should be a little bit of that at least to keep the feel.
And to be very fair about it, if you're going to take reference from one version of hell, that's not I don't know, the UMK3 pit with the skeleton pillars descending into the
I would love to see skeleton pillars. With the little purplish tint to the bones. Yep. That's my favorite.
Oh, that'd be cool.
If I were to list the versions of hell that I like most in the MK games, I'd actually put that over the cyberpunk shit for mythologies. My favorite thing is the bone
I don't
columns.
blame you. I would add that somewhere, but I'm just saying that if they're going to take reference, having these skewed crossroads, cliff backgrounds and spikes is nice to see. So, not entirely, it's a fair choice. Not complaining, just observing.
That to Scorpion at the tournament, facing off in Shang's throne room against Liu Kang. And there's a lot of things in these frames, these couple frames, that I want to point out.
Can I just say one thing? I love the color in this shot. I love the reflection of light off the floor. And,
it is a beautifully rendered version of Shang's throne room. I really love... Shang's throne room is one of the best stages. It was really kind of ugly and boring in the original MK1. Mm-hmm. But ever since,
MK9.
Shaolin Monks and MK9, every time we see it now, it looks fucking beautiful.
It brought it to life.
Oh, it's so good. I also noticed, in addition to the light on the floor, there's a giant fucking crater in there.
Yeah,
who made that?
So there's several, this is obviously deep into the tournament, because Scorpion also has battle damage on his stomach.
Mm-hmm.
And this is how you know, the differences we'll see in the Red Band trailer. Somebody has recolored the blood on him to be, yellowish brown. That's obviously, in the real movie, that's going to be red.
Mm-hmm. I noticed here that on both sides of Shang, we have Raiden on the left, just cross-armed.
He and Shang are both watching this tournament match, but on the right of Shang
is Quan Chi in a fire cage.
Yeah, he's captured and hanging in midair. It's raises some questions.
Is that Quan Chi?
It is Quan Chi, because if you look really close, he's got the you can tell the skull knee pads first off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's also got I don't know if you can see it from here, but I can kind of see it those kind of pointed up pauldrons from MKX.
those the things at his waist in his MKX costume that are these flaps sewn together. You can see those.
They might have gotten rid of the skull, which is
and you can kind of little bit make out his head.
Mm-hmm. Story-wise, I would fucking love if Shang is just the fuck are you doing here? This is Earth from an Outworld. Get the fuck out of here.
Right? If it was MK9 where he shows up for no reason, he tries to do that in this movie, and Shang's you're not from Earth, you're not from Outworld, fuck you, buddy.
Raiden nods politely.
Yeah. It looks... This shot is cool as shit. This might be my favorite shot of the trailer. Aside from... We'll get to it.
Right, and then we see an example of how trailers mix and match from different scenes, because the next thing we see is Shang saying, "Let the tournament begin," and he claps his hands and there's a bright light. Well, that's not from the Scorpion versus Liu fight. That's back in the dining hall.
Yeah.
Let's not go off that. It's more like a reference to the movie where he says, "Let Mortal Kombat begin." And shit like that.
Yeah. But
I feel that should be like a thing that should be said before every tournament.
Yeah, I mean, more quotes from the movie are always welcome.
Yeah,
it's as good as a custom now.
Now this next shot after that is very questionable because are Sonya's forces like firing at Liu Kang?
There are somebody with guns, and they're like in the background and they're blurry, shooting guns at Liu Kang, and it's a shot of him like just slightly dodging with his eyes closed, so the bullet misses him and goes through his hair.
It's cool.
It is totally like a cool like I'm a kung fu guy. I'm the best. My instincts. I'm so fast. You know, I like it. But
it could be Black Dragon. It's possible.
These soldiers could be Black Dragon, or they could be Special Forces. It's hard to tell.
I'm thinking Special Forces.
Special Forces does kind of seem like a possibility, and I think it's an interesting choice because, like, if you go back to the '95 movie. They chose to have Sonya get on the boat and meet Johnny and Liu Kang and Raiden and get all the exposition out on the boat instead of after they get to the island. But the actual canon is that Sonya wasn't on the boat. Kano was on the boat. Sonya was following the boat with a bunch of her soldiers on like a speedboat. And they got captured by Shang when they came ashore on his island. And I think this might be like that. Like, maybe Sonya and her guys have arrived at the island coming after Kano, and there's some kind of misunderstanding, and that's why they're shooting at, like, the other tournament competitors.
The military are like that, so...
And I'm happy for that, because we're going to get to see Sonya fighting in the tournament to rescue her team, as opposed to just Jax, because...
Okay, so I just, before we keep with this up, I don't want us to hype ourselves up for a remake of the John Tobias MK1 comic.
No, obviously there are going to be differences.
Yourself, you have no one to blame but yourself.
There are actually, we can see in this trailer, there are some extreme changes to the story that I will get to. Mm-hmm. But what I like is that, like, so Sonya is supposed to fail to win the tournament, because obviously Liu Kang wins, and her guys are supposed to be executed. Maybe we'll get to see it.
It's pretty cool.
Just, cross your fingers, but don't never hope. Hope is a lie.
I kind of imagine that scene going like Shang does it personally, maybe.
I just want to see some kind of like tragedy, some kind of moment where the good guys lose one, because they don't lose much in MK1 and 2, and I don't want to see the story changed to, like, make it worse than it is, but I do want to see the moments that are, like, those little, the death of 1,000 cuts sort of, little victories for the bad guy. Or the little moments where Shang gets to be a dick at the very least,
If it's going on for, like, a half hour and 6 seconds into a minute and 36-second trailer...
It's great, right?
That's how you know how excited we are. This trailer is the most I have liked Mortal Kombat in the past 10 years.
All right, moving on.
I have not been this excited since 2011.
So the next shot we have some Liu Kang.
Yeah, his fist is on fire and he's saying, "I will win this tournament." And then there's a shot of him fighting Kitana.
Which is in her MKX costume.
Yeah,
and from what I'm seeing, it's basically the same. I don't know. I've never been a fan of Kitana's MKX costume since it seems a little too skimpy. I don't like the legs and the hips being shown like that.
You know what?
Something about this particular animation style. Maybe it's the shot too. It's very hippie. There's so much hip being shown off.
Yeah.
It feels like more than usual.
So, like I said before, I like Kitana's MKX primary, because it's the only time she's ever really looked like a ninja.
I think it's
I'm a fan of it too.
I am a fan. Really and I'm so the interesting thing is, like, for me, I'm sort of trying to keep an eye out for what backgrounds people are fighting on, like what parts of Shang's Island are we going to get to see in this movie?
They might be on a beach.
This fight looks like it might be the courtyard. Or if it's not the courtyard, it might be like the Shang's Garden sort of area from 9. Like it's like a generic outdoorsy part of the island.
This does look like the courtyard. I'm seeing like the dragons, the chair, like the stands.
Yeah, and that's like
sit in.
That's interesting to me because like we don't see the courtyard otherwise, and like I tend to think of the courtyard as the like central point of the tournament. Like I think of it as the arena where the most fights probably happened at. It's kind of the most iconic MK1 stage to me. So the fact that we see little to no courtyard in this, that we see so much of Shang's dining hall instead, has me, like, desperately looking for shots of the courtyard, you know? Like, it's got to be in here somewhere.
Also, I don't know if this is, like, a detail that I'm just noticing this. I don't know if this is in MKX, but there's a little bit of hints to her MK3 costume because her waist has, like, a belt, but it's like tied together with this zigzag kind of line with some lace, which kind of goes back to her MK3.
I think that might have been in X.
Was it?
But it looks good here. Like it definitely makes her like the combination of the simplified animation style of the outfit and those little laces. It does make this costume look a little bit more MK2 and 3.
I get it, but I just don't like.
Her belts or her boots. Her boots are blue instead of brown, and I think that's a real good choice.
Yes, definitely.
That is true, yeah. The next shot after her is Reptile being invisible. Being covered in mud, just revealing himself. Which I feel that's going to be a cool scene. It's very...
Yeah, he's fighting Sonya.
I think of The Incredibles like that. Like, that scene where the one soldier kind of throws dirt into the water and it hits invisible...
It's sort of a common thing in a lot of, like, shows where somebody can turn invisible. Somebody figures out, I'll throw, like, paint or mud or something on them and then I'll be able to see them. And it's like... The fact that it's Sonya doing it reminds me a little bit of the movie Predator. Like she's in the Schwarzenegger situation fighting.
That's probably the case, but also consider the fact that it's Reptile. Being invisible and covered in mud is probably just how he starts most of his day.
That's true. I do like that idea that he's just giving up the ghost when he's like, "Well, I've been."
Where the hell am I, lady? What the shit?
I also read them like in MKX he just had a bunch of bones on the V mantle of his costume. I like that around his neck is kind of like this piping, like this bone piping around his neck that the bones kind of come out of.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on the record as like I like Reptile's MKX primary. Like
this makes it look better. It's much more streamlined.
I think it's interesting that like the biggest change to Reptile's design in this movie is that he's got more of a snout. And like because he's wearing that mask that opens with his snout like he had in that game, he looks more reptilian than usual. It stands out more, and I think people who are sort of like nostalgically looking back at the when he used to be in a human disguise thing, or if they want human ninja Reptile, I can see how it's disappointing for them that he looks like even more lizardy than usual here. But I'm okay with it, because I guess at a certain point there's a thought process of like, look, this isn't a remake of MK1. This is a version of MK1 that's sort of new timeline inspired, but so much better than 9. And I'm happy to have anything that tells that story again and fixes what 9 fucking broke.
I agree.
Yes, we know.
So I will put up with little changes, like maybe I don't quite like Reptile's design. Big fucking deal.
In MKX, did he have these like metal like arm guards and shoulder guards? I don't think he did. Or is my memory just bad? Hang on.
gonna look it up real quick.
MK2. So MK ending lives.
He does have metal arm guards. Yes, those are part of the design.
Okay. But yeah, Reptile doesn't. He looks fine. Like, I like that he's in the fucking.
Yeah. And we get a shot of him spitting acid, so, like, it's always nice to see characters actually use their special moves.
A nitpick, but I wish this scene was in the bottom of the pit.
They're fighting in a random jungle.
I'm sure there's a scene in there with the pit
Like,
bottom with him there.
I'm guessing this environment is somewhat inspired by the Kuatan jungle stage from X, because like Shang Tsung's island doesn't really have any stages that are a jungle or forest. But you have to imagine there are trees. There would be like a place like this on the island if you really wanted to search for one.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool if, like, it explored more of what Shang's Island looked like, other than just the stages in MK1.
Yeah, and I mean, again, that's one of the reasons that, for all the flaws of MK11's crypt, I'm just happy to walk around on Shang's fucking island, man.
Well, think about it this way. Like, it's not any recognizable background that we're aware of. Maybe Sonya's actually trying to find a way to sneak into, like, I don't know, the back of the entrance of the palace or whatever, some shit.
You know, that is possible. Maybe this isn't a tournament match.
Maybe Reptile is actually being his diligent bodyguard.
Yeah, that's a good point, because there are other shots in this trailer of Sonya and Johnny, like, going through the dungeons. Maybe this is Sonya trying to sneak in that this isn't an actual tournament match. So that would be cool.
I think it'd also be kind of cool. I don't know. The thought just came to me, like, Sony is wearing green, right?
Yeah.
And the army are wearing green for camouflage. I think it'd be kind of cool to kind of turn Reptile stick on his head and her to kind of blend in with the green foliage in the jungle to fuck with Reptile. I think that'd be pretty cool.
I imagine probably going to be a straightforward fight once he's not invisible.
Most likely, but the thought just came.
I don't think they have the screen time to do an elongated sequence where she's using stealth.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. Like, the running times for these movies is a point of discussion. So the usual running time for a DC animated direct-to-video movie is 100 to 110 minutes. Wonder Woman Bloodlines was a full 2 hours long. That was the most recently released one.
Was it good?
I liked it. It was okay. Like, I'm a big Wonder Woman fan, so I'm forgiving.
Our commentary about the movie is going to outstrip the movie's runtime itself.
Yes,
let's move on. Let's move on.
All right, I just want to point out that this movie will be longer than the live-action film from '95.
I like it. But yeah, after the shot of Reptile, we see Sonya saying, "Let's see what you got," and Reptile spitting some acid.
Yeah, this is the only bit of Sonya voice acting that's in the trailer, and it's already 1,000,000 times better than Ronda Rousey.
Do you have to try very hard?
No, you don't.
It's somebody's gonna make the joke. It might as well be on the show instead of in the comments.
Yeah,
fair enough.
I think we can all do a better Sonya than Ronda Rousey. But let's move on. I see the next shot we see is the palace with some lightning.
Yep. And then
after that is Quan Chi in the Netherrealm asking.
Yeah, we
Hanzo.
see Scorpion. It's like Hanzo in his human form. Still, he's not Scorpion yet, and he's like mud and looks kind of beaten up, like his hair is all straggly. So this is like probably after that big shot of him fighting all the demons on the plains.
Mm-hmm.
And Scorpion's asking him, "What do you want?" And he's like, "To seek my revenge." And then it cuts to a shot of Hanzo with a child on his back, jumping from rooftop to rooftop in a Japanese village, being chased by a bunch of generic Lin Kuei ninjas.
Mm-hmm. They actually kind of do, just a little bit, have a Deception Lin Kuei NPC look going on.
Yeah, it's the outfits from like
The
again, they're
MK
using
mobile
MKX
game.
art. This is Kuai Liang's NPC guys.
Okay,
But
fair enough.
I mean, I'm
only
fine with that.
The only complaint I have with this Quan Chi bit is that he's looking at the camera, and he should be looking at Hanzo.
He's also wearing the tattoos again, but again.
Well, that's
Again, things you have to accept.
Yeah. So, what's interesting to me, though, is the shot of Scorpion with his kid rooftop to rooftop in the village being chased. Because it implies that we're going to see the Legacy and MKX comic version of how the Shirai Ryu died, where it has nothing to do with mythologies, and Hanzo is at the village when the attack happens.
That's, again...
It's
acceptance, I suppose.
I mean, it's okay. At least we're getting some cool ninja jumping from rooftop to rooftop stuff. I always like that sort of thing.
I don't want this to be he freezes him to death yet again. I want the spine rip. That's the way it should be.
I think they're gonna do the spine rip. I feel like the spine rip is gonna be obligatory.
No way that we can reference mythologies ever again properly for some fuck-ass reason. I at least ask for a spine rip.
I hope to see in the Red Band trailer that sort of thing.
Yeah.
That we will know more at the beginning of March, a month from now.
Fingers crossed.
Right. So then we see a close-up of Sub-Zero's face, and oh my god, that mask looks so much better than it did in X.
Oh my fucking
right?
god! And I also like the belts that come like atop the cowl, because it's not belts; it's just like a line.
Yeah, it's just stripes.
A normal cowl. It's just a stripe.
In general, it looks normal. Like, it's not super fucking over the top, way too much detail, like the games do.
Okay, Bihan's eyes are barely the same shade are almost the same shade as his skin when it's in the light. And I absolutely love this. I really do.
He is a very old man.
there are no pupils. Nothing. It is just emptiness. And that's magnificent.
It's so sick.
That right there on a design level speaks wonders about how much they get that fact. The eyes are the window to the soul. He's got nothing. He looks like a horrible person just from this one close-up shot. It's great.
It is nice that we're now in an era where people aren't trying to portray Sub-Zero as the good guy and Scorpion as the bad guy at the first tournament, like they were all through the 90s. Like, we're finally getting bad guy Bihan.
We're here. We are really here.
It's really nice. It looks so sick. Oh my god.
Because obviously, you can't see an animated MK thing without comparing it to, all of the 90s media, like Journey Begins and Defenders of the Realm, and so much stuff in the 90s tried to make Sub-Zero look like the bad guy, or the good guy in the rivalry, because the other one is from hell. And obviously, we waited 20 years to finally get the right version of the story. And I'm so happy to... I'm just so glad this animated movie fucking exists, man.
It's so nice. Oh, I'm so happy. Oh my fucking god, I love it. I'm so excited.
You know what? Django hasn't said anything the whole episode. Would you like to weigh in a little bit?
He said, he's told us in chat, for some reason people in his house are choosing this night to move heavy things around.
Oh.
So this is partly out of his control. Hi, Django, I love you.
That's lame, but whatever. That sucks.
So moving...
It's been so long since I've been happy about an MK thing.
It's
It's
gonna
been
be all
so
right,
long.
man. It's gonna be all right. Good now. The bad storylines and plots can't hurt you anymore. Okay.
So
we move
upon
along
from
now.
Sub-Zero, I see Scorpion alive, pissed off at some Lin Kuei soldiers.
Yeah, this is more of the Shirai Ryu flashback, how they died.
And then we see the sick-ass fucking raged fucking...
This
Shit
anime
here.
as fuck shot where everything is red and blurry, and you can see a
the
guy's
camera kind of
reflection
pans
in the blade of his
across their
sword.
face. It's
I
so
haven't-
sick.
I'm looking at it right now. I'm watching one animation frame where you can see a Lin Kuei's face in the blade of his sword.
And you
and he
can
just got
see the
this-
spear.
He just got this, oh no, look on his...
His
Oh,
eyes
it's so
are like,
sick.
he knows what's coming.
Did he
It's
just
so
move his
sick.
sword? Thunk. Yep. Oh, this is wonderful.
Also, I think it's a good time to bring up Patrick Seats himself.
Sights, is it? I think
Sights?
I think it's Sights.
I think it's Patrick Sights. So yeah, so we're getting Patrick back as the voice of Scorpion, which, you know, the MK11 guy was perfectly fine. It's just that Sights earned his spot as, like, the Scorpion guy, right?
I
No
agree.
complaints that he's back. You know what?
He's Scorpion for me.
Maybe he was too busy doing this to actually voice Scorpion in MK11.
You know, I honestly
I don't
think...
think so.
I honestly
think
think
so.
the reason they
Because-
changed some of the voice actors in 11 was that strike that happened during Injustice 2.
Possible.
Maybe. Because, I don't know, it feels... Because he was pissed when he found out at the MK11 trailer. That was a surprise to him.
Yeah, because that's the thing, like, NRS doesn't... Most animated things, if they recast you, they just don't call you back. That you don't know you're not coming back until the thing comes out. And
Which is exactly
really,
what apparently happened here now.
it's really dickish, but I guess that's just kind of the way things are done. Like, I'm not gonna, like, call the guy who I'm not hiring.
That's true. It's a shame. I like... Seats is...
I'm sure he'll be back
Scorpion.
next game. I'm sure he'll be back next game.
I don't know about that, but I think Seats is fucking Sights, whatever the fuck, he fucking is Scorpion. Like,
Yeah, like,
I'm known on the Discord as the guy who started with fucking MK versus DC, and that was where Patrick started. So he's kind of been Scorpion for me.
I mean, the thing is, before Patrick Sights, Scorpion didn't really have a voice actor. He had Ed Boon.
Exactly.
Ed Boon fucking is not a trained voice actor.
No.
But he's still Scorpion to me to a large extent.
I think, so Boon works as Scorpion if Scorpion's not gonna talk much, if he's just gonna do catchphrases.
Yeah.
But as far as, like, Sights does something in this movie that I think he earned a long time ago.
Oh,
And I'm
yeah.
so happy to hear it. He finally
Yeah.
gets to say, "Get over here," instead of fucking Ed Boon doing it.
Oh my god, it's so sick too.
I've wanted Scorpion's voice actor to be the guy who says "Get over here" in the game for a long fucking time.
You think maybe they kept it this long because of tradition? More than
I
anything
think,
else?
yeah, I think that's just the tradition of reusing those voice clips. Like, it's always got to be the "Get over here" from MK4. It's always got to be the Raiden torpedo noises from MK2. You know, there's just
Dude, no,
some
it doesn't.
clips they keep.
I mean,
They haven't reused Raiden in MK2 this game. Everyone wants
11
it
is,
back.
11 is the first game ever where Raiden doesn't make any, like, noise at all when he does his fucking tackle.
did you
Shit's-
do it in X?
No, he had the noise in X.
Okay.
11's the first time where he
No,
doesn't.
yeah, I
Fucking
remember.
wrong and it's fucked. But
It's,
moving on.
and look, if
Yeah,
if
Not why
you
we're here.
recorded Richard Epcar screaming gibberish, yay. But I can understand, since it's just gibberish, why you'd reuse the old clip.
well,
Get over
I don't
here
think-
is English words. Let the voice actor do it. You know?
I don't think that Richard Epcar doing "Kamehameha" Like, I don't think that'd be like very cool. I think it would be.
No,
very
he'd probably suck at it. You're right.
I want to hear it now.
Hey, hey, Django.
That'll get me back in. That sounds funny as hell.
All I'm saying is pitch adjustment works wonders. All right.
Now I want to hear it as Epcar. Thank you for putting that in my head.
Okay. So the next shot after the all-red anime blurring sword swing is there's a sequence of Scorpion fighting Quan Chi, 2 swords versus 2 swords, in what looks like the burning down wreckage of Shang Tsung's throne room.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of pillars just kind of fall into the floor.
Yeah, no, you can totally recognize, like, the pillars and the windows, and there's more of this fight where there's, like, explosions and fire going on behind them, and it's like... Yeah. I'm thinking, like... So obviously this would be a huge change to the story, to have Scorpion find out that he was being tricked, during MK1.
Yes.
But it looks like this is after the tournament's already been resolved. Like, Liu has beaten Shang, and Shang has created the earthquake on the island, and,
or the whole
it's
thing
either
is
that or all of this
fun.
damage was inflicted by Scorpion.
That'd be awesome.
It happened during the tournament, Goro throwing people around. Anything's possible.
I just think it's really interesting that this is obviously on the island at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
I think...
Although I could think of a clear-cut reason why they're doing this.
From a narrative standpoint, I think this happens after he's killed Bi-Han.
Well, yeah, obviously, like, Sub-Zero has to die before even Liu Kang fights Shang, you know?
Like, I think it'd be really cool if this was, like, the pre... Like, I prefer it to be how the games happen, but I don't think I would hate it. I don't think I would hate it if you find out before he knew of Kuai Liang.
Yeah, I think, so the thing of it is, the movie is titled Scorpion's Revenge, and it's gonna devote a lot of screen time to Scorpion's origin story. If you know for a fact you're probably not gonna get to make 4 of these, resolve the plot now. Go ahead.
Yeah, like, I can't... I made this joke in our Discord before, but I can't actually see them getting to MK4.
No, there's no way.
We're probably... We will get 1 through 3, and that'll probably be it.
I would...
I think 3 is lucky.
We would be so fucking lucky to get an MK2 one of these and an MK3 one of these, but I guarantee you it's not going past that.
Well, I mean, the trailer has 2 million plus views on IGN's upload on YouTube.
I mean, look, I really hope this is successful, and like I said, I'm buying it digital and physical. Mm-hmm. Like, I encourage everybody to buy at least 1 copy, if not both.
I think we're in for some more.
So,
I think that the subtitle Mortal Kombat Legends is enough to imply more of these.
Yeah, like, that's a title for an ongoing series. And like
I
next is going to be like, I don't
hope
know,
so.
Shao Kahn's tournament or something like that.
I would fucking love to see this continue and to follow the plot through 2 and 3, like to get the second tournament and then the invasion, because that's another thing from the 90s where like I said about them always portraying Bi-Han as more the good guy. Another thing about the 90s adaptations is they always skipped the MK2 tournament. They went straight to the invasion. I would fucking love to have an MK2 movie.
Yes!
That's like...
actually has a tournament in it.
That, like, introduces, like, Kuai Liang is coming in, and he's like, you killed my fucking brother, and Smoke is there, and, like, there's heavy emphasis on Kitana and Liu Kang joining forces.
You would know that someone's gonna be an asshole that likes to kill people.
Stop, I can only get so erect. But I wanted to bring up a point. Like, if they resolve Scorpion and Quan Chi right now, this opens up the most logical venue for him being free to actually become Kuai Liang's protector or bodyguard
Yes,
or ally.
yes, like
in
the
next
freedom
one.
of choice that he had
entirely.
in MK2 and 3. This is a
Would
good
make-
way to
yeah.
get there.
Ooh, goosebumps.
It's so cool. Like, the changes aren't even pissing me off. It's great.
Yeah, like that's how you know when somebody's like a good writer is when they change things and you're still not mad.
You know, I've said this before on my Twitter. MK9 should have just been a straight reboot.
Absolutely. Like,
And
I have
no
said
one
so many
would have
times that
no
I'm
one
not
would have
against
given a
them
shit.
changing the lore. I'm against them writing shitty.
Like, that's it. Like, if it's a new timeline, if it's a breath of fresh air, if it's a fresh start, no one gives a shit when you make changes. So this thing has carte blanche as far as I'm concerned. We're good.
And that's the best thing. Like, this is, like, whatever you change, you can go, it's our version. You can't, there's no Raiden with a time medallion going, I remember how things used to be, and I'm changing them. But also, Melina was born at a different time for no reason.
Pepper's Farm remembers.
Like, be a reboot or be a sequel. You can't do both.
Look, 9 is retarded. We all know this from, like, what, fucking 13 episodes of The Lost?
I'm just so glad there's no sign of time travel in this fucking thing. That's all.
It's great. Anyways, I think we should move on. Quan Chi
Yes, we
fighting
should.
Scorpion. After this, we have, like, some very MK kind of, like, roll call. You have Scorpion.
Yeah, it's going
kinda
through everybody's names. The interesting thing is Kano's not in the roll call.
Yeah, that's funny. But yeah, the first one we see is Scorpion throwing the spear at the camera, which I would love if this animated movie played more with the spear combat like MK11 and Shaolin Monks does.
Yeah, like
that'd
the
be so sick. We
the
already
rope
know it
dart
kinda does.
style.
Mhm.
Yeah, so we get a shot of him throwing the spear at the camera, and there's like ice around him. So this is part of the Sub-Zero fight, probably.
Yeah,
Yeah,
then-
I
and
think
then
that
it's
he's
all
like
the-
in front of. I think he's in front of like possibly the entrance to his village. Possibly.
There's-
Looks like it.
Well,
the entrance to his what?
no,
Entrance to his
I'm
village,
inclined to
because I don't
think
think.
I'm
not
inclined
sure
to
he's
think
on the
it's at
pit.
Shang's Island because he's wearing the Spectre costume. Like, he's not Hanzo.
Yeah.
There's also,
Scorpion.
okay, well, there's also trees in the background. So
I
if they
think
wind
it's-
up,
I think it's somewhere
If they-
on the island, that's all.
It's on the island. But, well, there's trees in the Sonya versus Reptile fight, so
this might be possibly him showing up at the tournament and accosting Bihan for the first time before later fighting him on the pit.
Well, yeah. Well, the other thing is, I'm skipping ahead to the very end, but there are scenes of him as Spectre Scorpion fighting the Lin Kuei, like random
So-
Lin Kuei ninjas. So maybe this is part of that sequence.
yeah, maybe they're on. Are the Lin Kuei on the island?
No, I think what's happening is there's going to be a sequence after we see Quan Chi make him a Spectre, where we see him on Earthrealm hunting down Lin Kuei trying to find Bihan, and he follows him to the tournament. I think that's
That'd
what
be
it's going to be.
cool. We'll see. After
Alright.
Scorpion, we see him
Fighting
pulling
Quan Chi.
towards him. Patrick Seat saying, "Scorpion, get over here."
Scorpion.
Punching him with 2 feet. Shut up.
Stop
I'm pretty
drinking,
sure-
you lush.
It's sights.
It is sights.
Patrick,
You keep doing
Patrick
it.
sights.
I'm.
No, me.
No, not you.
No, me.
No, me.
Fuck you. Fucking show here. Anyways, Scorpion punches cool fists, and it's sick. And Sight says, "Get over here," and it's awesome.
Yeah, there's like
I
a
love it. There's
shockwave
there's
comes
giant-
out his back. It's a good shot.
Yeah, there's a giant pillar of fire. I don't know what that is, but it's sick.
So then we
there's
see
Raiden.
Raiden, and there's...
And then there's Raiden, and he fucking
Yeah, there's
you
this
feel
weird
the
shot of
love tonight?
Raiden, like, moving like the Flash, dashing through the hallways of Shang's palace.
It's very Akuma.
You know, we had a shot before, lightning appearing over Shang's palace. Maybe, just maybe, you know, this is him actually coming down and going, all right, stop with the fucking hijinks. I'm sure things are done properly.
Yeah, there might be a moment of, like, Shang is cheating, and he shows up to go, enough! You know, that might be
Yeah.
awesome.
That would be sick. Well, that's why he's like standing beside him with his arms crossed.
Well, in the next shot, right after the flash zoom, he kind of zaps down into the dragon logo while Shang's addressing the
In the
group
dining
shot
hall,
in the dining hall. So it's like, all right, I'm here to make sure that this gets done properly.
Yeah, Raiden gets a big entrance in this. So then we see the roll call goes to Liu Kang, and there's a bit of him doing the, like, he jumps in the air and does a flying dragon kick, and if you, like, take it frame by frame, you can tell he's doing it to Goro.
Before we get to Liu Kang, I want to talk about. I think it'd be cool. I think it's cool that Raiden presents himself in the same scene as Shang presenting the tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we were just saying, like he appears to be just zapping down to go. Jesus, man, watch them drinks.
Yeah, I have kind of a pile gathering.
If I met everyone here in alcohol, done. Okay, but yeah, that's like him going. You know, I'm here to make sure that this is done properly. I'm going to be watching, just so you know, no hijinks. So we move on, and we get Sub-Zero here as beyond Sub-Zero.
Yep.
And man, when he jumps back and he's firing off the ice cream, and he's wielding them as daggers and knocking that, you can see that now they're on the pit.
Yeah, you can
This
see
is
like
the
the
part.
lamps on the side of the MK2 design.
God,
It's really cool.
There's like a
God,
cool
how
bit
I-
where he's trying to like stab with his daggers into Scorpion, and Scorpion teleports away, and then Sub-Zero immediately spins and throws a punch at the camera, like he knows
Yeah.
where the teleport's gonna come out, and he's like anticipating Scorpion.
I guess a small nitpick: Scorpion's teleport. I wish it left an after image, but whatever.
this scene has me hoping this thing is going to be like impeccable score. I hope the soundtrack to this, whatever. Good.
Well,
None of this
that's
is-
another like a complaint I've seen is like this is yet another trailer that has rap music in it. I honestly kind of like this song.
What? Wait, who?
I don't know, just random
It's
YouTube
funny.
comments on the trailers.
I could barely tell the lyrics.
It is
Most of
rap
the
music,
score.
and it is rap
It's-
music, and I don't care.
It is rap
whatever.
music, but it doesn't sound bad. Like I feel. See, people shit on 11's music, but I don't feel like the reveal trailer for MK11 has bad music. I feel MKX music, like from the reveal trailer, was bad.
I mean,
Whatever. I just
this-
don't want subtitles that say rough, muffled rap music playing in the distance while they're on the pit. Okay, that's all I ask.
That's not going to be.
Well,
this is a trailer
historically, the music in a trailer is almost never in the movie itself.
Yeah, exactly.
thing. Yeah,
But
Which
I
sometimes
do
is
like the
different,
song in
whatever.
this trailer because it has kind of like an Asian beat to it.
Yeah. So after Scorpion and Sub-Zero fighting, is Sonya fighting some like
Yeah,
some
this
grunt?
is
I
an
assume
interesting
it's from
shot.
The Black
It's,
Dragon in China.
yeah, it's like she's in
In
Hong
Tokyo?
Kong or Tokyo, and there's like a street fight with some random criminal, and this is obviously backstory tournament where she's hunting Kano down.
Yeah.
It's really cool because she does like this like sick uppercut like after like dodging some attacks. It's cool.
Yeah, it's another good action shot that shows like the choreography and the animation of the fight scenes in the movie, and it looks really good.
Like I said, making me like Sonya is a good fucking sign.
I like how there's just people cheering cheering this on in the background. It feels like the Hong Kong equivalent of Balrog's Vegas stage in a way, a little bit.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. There's
It's
definitely
sick.
like there is a crowd gathered, and it's all very Fight Clubby. It's like the next one after this is Johnny Cage, and it looks like he's in like the dungeons. He's like in Goro's lair, maybe, or it reminds me a lot of the Dark Prison, especially like the MK11 Crypt version, which I like.
It's very Dark Prison,
which is supposed to be on Chang's Island.
Yeah,
like you
and
said.
so if you take it frame by frame, you can kind of see a bloody Sonya in the background, like he's saving her from these demon torturers who are down there. And I'm also noticing for the first time, his belt buckle is a giant gold letter C.
I love it. He's also got like the brass knuckles. They're there.
He does.
Does he? Does
Wait,
he?
no.
No,
wait,
those
no.
are just... So
Never
that's
mind.
one of the things about the art style of this thing. Everybody has heavily
Everyone's like
shadowed
shaded knuckles.
knuckles,
That's it.
yeah.
Yeah, I actually like that bit. That's cool.
That's all right.
I'm down. I'm
Yeah.
down.
Yeah,
Where
so
are you seeing Bloody Sonya? Like, I'm not seeing that.
It's at like 114.
Oh, I see her. Yeah,
Yeah, she's at the
like
very bottom right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's like he's yelling, "Here's Johnny," and it's interesting. So they advertised the shit out of the fact that Joel McHale is voicing him in this, like the guy from Community and Talk Soup. This is his only voice line in the trailer. So, and it's obviously like the movie's not about Johnny Cage. So I find it odd that he is like the biggest name celebrity in the voice cast.
I mean, I'm fine with that. Fuck it.
So yeah, and it's like he's doing this jumping spin kick to what looks like a Lord of the Rings orc. Like
Something like that.
one of these dungeon guards is like just some green skinned dude in a horned helmet.
So moving on forward.
So then we're back in the dining hall, and Shang is calling for Goro to come out, and we get a shot of.
I find what's most interesting is that Goro is stepping out of this like hexagonal light like shield.
Yeah, there's
thing.
like this sci-fi force field around the fighting arena.
It's
very peculiar.
It's very Sato to me.
I mean, I'm reminded a lot of like Mass Effect when I see glowing hexagons.
I have to confess, this is one thing that's just a complete fucking mystery to me.
It might just be some of Shang's magic, and that's the way they decided to portray it, which is weird, but whatever.
Yeah,
Like I can see in the background what looks like the rest of whatever room he's in. So it's not a portal, I don't think.
No, it's like there was this like protective bubble around the arena, and he's stepping through it to enter. Like maybe there's some magic involved to prevent people from interfering in the matches, like running in and attacking somebody while they're fighting.
yeah.
No ring outs either.
Again, more MK movie influence than MK9 influence.
Yeah, because Goro was
he
treated like
comes in
shit
with
in
his-
9.
Oh yeah, he comes in with his fucking cape and throws it off in the first fucking match. Which, before we get into that, I feel like maybe his ponytail is a bit too puffy.
I'm okay with it.
It's okay.
It's big. It's noticeable.
The
I'm
one thing I'm
surprised-
noticing about Goro's design in this movie is that it's obviously MKX inspired, but I think
it's
it
not
takes
the entire way.
Yeah, it takes a little more liberties than everybody else does. It looks more like the Bruce Timm way of drawing somebody from Apocalypse. Like it's very Superman the Animated Series Dark Side tech.
Yeah, I do.
It's like the belt and the wristbands are fur lined.
I do like the fur lining.
I don't know.
I like the fur line. I dig it.
And he's got like the necklace with the teeth on it and shit from X. I like that.
I enjoy that. I question the need to just not have, like, the thong and the shin wraps, but...
Yeah, like, the way the shins and the belt buckle are, like, the big red circles on them stand out to me as kind of weirdly Jack Kirby.
I know. I kind of go back to the Japanese flag for me personally.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I can kind of see it.
Yeah. But another point of reference is that once he takes off the cape, like the MK movie or MKX's intro,
MK1 comic too.
That too.
There are many things where he gets a cool entrance where he takes off a cape. Yeah.
he is fighting a black dude, and it's a bit of a debate whether this is Arlene or Nimbus Terrafo, or if it's just fucking Jax.
My vote is that this is Jax. I mean, Jax is in the voice cast, but otherwise not seen in this trailer.
Mm-hmm.
That looks like a military light.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that he's wearing, like, olive green.
It's Jax.
I'm inclined to think it's Jax.
I mean, Jax needs to get fucked up somehow, which I'm fucking down for.
I mean,
okay, I've already brought myself around to acknowledging the fact that Jax will never put arm enhancements on. From now on, he's probably just going to get his arms ripped off, and I really can't think of too many better people to do it apart from Baraka.
I mean, my preference would be for them to save at least one thing for a possible sequel and have him lose his arms in MK2.
As would mine, but I think this is how it's going to go down.
It's a shame because I think I wish that the writers were good enough to go, Jack should keep his arms in this movie, but also at the same time, like, oh, we need gore in this movie.
I mean, I just
Jack
feel
should
like
lose his arms. Either way, I don't think that it'll be something that I'll like be pissed over.
I mean, it's not hugely upsetting. It's like the thing where they're probably going to change it so Scorpion knows Quan Chi was tricking him at the end of the tournament. I'm okay with it. I would like it if Jax were part of Sonya's backstory and didn't come to the tournament. That would be my preference, because it would give more focus and screen time to the main cast and leave something for MK2. That's my preference. But if he does lose his arms to Goro here, I'm okay with it.
I think maybe it could lead up to the MK3 arms, because, like, he fights one guy who has 4 arms, and he loses. Second guy fucks him up even more. So, and that could, like, evolve more of his thinking into the metal arms.
Yeah, I mean, I've always imagined that the reason Jax decided in the canon MK3, where they are just kind of bionic gloves he puts on, the reason he decided to make them was because he realized, I'm the strongest man in the world, and I'm still not strong enough to fight a Shokan. Like, I imagined his rival at MK2 was Kintaro.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're going to demonstrate that strength isn't enough, you gotta do it against the strongest fucking race of Outworld, right?
Yeah.
I was raised on Malibu, so I was just picturing chopping them off and had to how they would have gone. But,
I mean, I'm just saying, like, if it's gonna be anyway, I would prefer, if it's gonna be anyone, I would prefer it to be a Shokan.
This scene is taking place in some kind of, like, similar room.
No, this is definitely the dining hall, because I recognize the one wall on the right in the shot with Jax in it. It's got the big doors in it. Those are definitely, you can see those in the dining hall.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think maybe this actually might be the first match of the tournament. Like, this is part of Shang's big speech.
That would be kind of cool. That actually would be kind of cool.
In fact, I have a theory.
Go ahead.
Okay, so going back to the roll call where Raiden is introduced, when he teleports into the ring, you can kind of see some of that hexagon pattern around his lightning. I have a theory that Raiden shows up to interrupt the fight between Jax and Goro to save Jax's life.
That would be cool. But
I could see it.
That's just, I mean, a guess based on little details here and there. It might not go that way, but it would be kind of cool. Like Goro rips Jax's arms off, and Raiden shows up to prevent him from dying.
Yeah.
I was going to say, like, maybe this is the first fight, and, like, this is like, oh, like, you know how in MK1, the movie, they present Goro like some big fucking badass?
Yeah, like, you need to give Goro this huge, intimidating... Like, he's the reigning champion, and his win streak is 500 years long. He's important.
As such, I feel like it wouldn't be...
It would be cool if, like, during that presentation, he actually fucked up some dude. Just show this guy is not fucking around. This guy is real, and he is dangerous.
You are so drunk. Moving on.
So then we get a shot of the title. The logo is the one from MK9 where it's the dragon has like 3D plates to it.
It's the old dragon. But
it's MK9.
I like that one because at least it's the right shape.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good combination of two different aesthetics.
And it's on this fiery background with which both recalls the original title from the 95 movie and, goes with the fact that it's a Scorpion movie.
Has to be on fire.
Yeah. And then the very last scene of the trailer is the little bit of Scorpion in the woods wrapping his chain around the neck of a rando Lin Kuei, and then he, like, tightens the chain and it cuts away. He probably decapitated the guy. Maybe we'll get to see that decapitation in the Red Band trailer.
He is more cut at the waist. But as I said, I think this is one of my favorite parts of the trailer because it's a good example of, like, good animation. Because I like the bit where he's, like, slashing the spear at him. Again, like this is trailer magic where it's cuts between each other.
Yeah.
But like the main bit is where the chain is like all around them. And he's just wrapping around them and most likely cutting them in half at the waist.
Well, it looks like it's around his neck, so I'm thinking decap.
It's around his neck and it's also...
Okay, so it might be both.
He's going to dice him into several...
That would be cool.
So that actually covers the entirety.
Well,
yeah, that's the whole trailer.
Good.
A lot of people... I think it's maybe the skin on on the forehead and brow of his face is something.
Yeah, his eyebrows look kind of scaly, which is
I
just
think
kind of...
it's more burn.
They're trying to illustrate the scary specter look of him.
Yeah, I think he looks really cool in this shot. The white eyes, the shape of the white eyes really fucking help to accentuate the sort of look of Scorpion in this shot.
Yeah, I think what's interesting to me is just how much better all the fucking costumes look in animation, which we've said already, but it's really...
Streamlining goes...
Yeah, it really does.
So I think that it's been established that we're pretty goddamn optimistic about it.
Yeah, I think we're all very excited for this. Much more excited than we were for the last several games.
I mean, I have a different perspective, but yeah.
Would you like to go into it?
I was still excited for MK11. I only became burned out on it later on.
I agree.
I don't hate the game, but I've lent it to a friend because I am a little bit burnt out.
I mean, I am the asshole that likes the Joker in this game.
Who?
I don't know.
I'm sorry. What?
Some fucking asshole they added.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought, sir.
Yes.
That's what I thought.
Anyways,
who even knows?
let's talk about Mortal Kombat.
So, I mean, to sum it up, we're all super, super looking forward to this animated movie, which is coming out in April. And, cannot express enough our encouragement that everyone listening throw money at this thing and get a sequel made if we can, because...
please.
I mean, I think it's in the works already. I feel like the production's already started behind the scenes.
I would hope so, but you never know. You never really know. And you know, if you're like holding out for something better, what? The Cole Turner experience?
Pay for this movie. Pirate the Cole Turner experience if you must.
fucking donate your fucking funds to this shit.
Look, it's going to be like $15-$20. Like, it's not going to break the bank, man. Just do it.
20, 30 at most. Like, it's not going to be that bad. Like,
it's a pack of cigarettes. A digital version's a pack of... No, pack of cigarettes are cheaper for you guys, but I think that.
If you pirate this movie, you are doing Mortal Kombat as a brand of, like, a disservice.
If you pirate this movie, you are either a liberal or a conservative, depending which one of those you truly despise. Good day, sir! Or a centrist, or a communist, or a capitalist.
Yes, whichever term makes you mad, you're that thing.
Yes, yes you are. Shame on you.
Because, like, look, I will never be the guy to be like, piracy is wrong, intellectual property matters. But look,
and this occasion, this is like me with Darkstalkers, the collection. I bought it twice because I wanted to support the brand and let them know there was interest. And this is what I will do here if I absolutely have to.
Look, this is the idea behind piracy: is watch it to make sure you like it, and then buy it. Except this time, you will buy it.
Yeah, a lot of people will go, well, I've already seen it, so now I don't need to spend the money. But, like, look, don't pirate first. Please buy this thing, because, like...
It's going to be good. Just trust us.
If you're a Mortal Kombat fan... And I know there are a lot of people in the fandom now, because generations and the passage of time are a thing, who weren't around for or don't remember the 90s when we had TV shows and cartoons and movies, and Mortal Kombat was a thriving media franchise and was more than just video games. We could have that again.
Would be really nice.
It'd be really cool.
I think those of us who remember those times, for whatever complaints we may have about the quality of those products,
we
still loved those times because products existed.
I'm afraid to revisit Conquest and Defenders of the Realm, but I'm glad that they exist.
I think
I know
we can all
Malibu's
agree,
fucked up, but
we can all agree that it would
it.
just be great to have cartoons and shows and movies again.
I mean, movies...
Depending on the movies. Not necessarily the Cole Turner movie.
Well, depending whose hands they're in. Now, on the topic of MK11 itself, a bit has happened since last time we talked.
I just want to make a bit of a nitpick. I did not know that the people who made the box artist also browsed MK Warehouse like we did.
Oh, yeah.
It is a stock image of MKX Scorpion. That's fine. It's just totally. A box.
I don't know if it's from MKX because I've never seen that pose before. But I appreciate that the old MK logo is...
Yeah, it's nice to see the dragon with two eyebrows, not looking like he was hit in the head with a baseball and now he has Down syndrome or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Like the perspective
it's heartwarming. It's nice.
It is. I approve.
Anyways,
I just want to touch briefly on MK11 because this last time we talked, we got some nice MK2 themed skins for the ladies. Did you guys enjoy those?
It's true. We haven't had an episode since the lady skins dropped.
And
yeah,
I did not bother with them because I heard some guy. This could have totally been a troll, by the way. But I heard some dude saying like, "Oh, they're gonna release them as like a pack later on after they're in the store." So that you can pay for microtransactions to get them?
Yeah, probably. But...
I mean, I had the crystals, so I just went for the primary colors.
Yeah, so did I. Like, if you buy whatever pack they're going to put out, you're also going to be getting, like, 4 different versions of every character.
Yeah.
I mean, it's...
Not just the classic, you know?
You don't need the one where they have stripes.
I mean, maybe you do. Maybe that's what you prefer, like that kind of thing, but we're not those folks.
Personally, the stripes are not my thing.
I mean, I kind of dig how Scarlet looks.
I know.
Just give me the classic monotone look any day.
I know. The back of them are more revealing than the
Yeah,
MK2,
they have like a
they
weird
have, like, a big
cutout on the
diamond,
back now. There's like a V shape.
which
It's like trying to be sexy, but I feel like it's unnecessary. Because I don't know anybody whose fetish is the spine.
One of our good artists on the Discord named Mr. MK1, I guess that's how it's pronounced, I'm not sure. But he lives in Chicago, and one of his professors in college is one of the lists at NRS. And he made those skins.
Which is pretty badass.
Yeah,
that guy gets a thumbs up for me for, making actual Mortal Kombat costumes, as opposed to new content, which always turns out weird and gross.
I mean, that's
sometimes.
Well, Razor, that's our direction.
Sometimes.
But still, fucking props, because that guy is an amazing artist. And he deserves all the props and all the followers and all the money.
Yeah, I mean, the costumes look good. I don't regret spending those crystals that I earned for free.
Yeah, same here. I mean...
But I can totally understand someone waiting for a pack. Like,
that too.
They really should have been released in some kind of formal capacity instead of, like, stealthily snuck into the fucking crystal store.
Yeah. I believe that artist... I can't remember his last name, so I'm just gonna refer to him as Solomon. He remembered Shao Kahn's fucking forehead in the old timeline, and he modeled the fucking forehead spikes, but they got rid of it because of clipping issues with the helmets.
I mean, you could just make the helmet a little bigger.
I mean, yeah.
We're on fucking just stupid piece. Yeah. Will not fix. That's the response to that. Will not fix or find a fucking workaround.
Isn't there fucking technology to just cut out the fucking horns that are clipping out?
Yeah, technically,
off
there are ways to make geometry invisible when putting clothing over top of it.
I'm sure. See, the fucking developers at Netherrealm.
Too much work might create more bugs. Will not fix.
That's the people in charge. That is not the fucking worker bees there.
No, that's the developers going, we don't want to work on this. Next step.
Yeah,
all
exactly.
Right, so, I just wanted to bring that up because, I thought the MK2 costumes were nice.
I like them. That's the katana I use when I play.
Yes, likewise.
I did not bother at the time, so I still do not have them. But with the next piece of big news after this animated movie is that John Tobias made a tweet. Like, if none of you know, this is the co-creator of the series. He is responsible for all the lore that we bitch about in The Lost. He made a recent tweet that says, after someone asked him what he's doing with himself these days, he said, and I quote, "Keeping busy, building the W Games San Diego studio with some super awesome people to make super awesome games."
Yeah, so Tobias works for Warner Brothers now.
Yes, which is a big step up because the last time we heard, he was working on mobile games or some fucking Farmville Facebook shit.
Yeah.
Which makes me so fucking happy. Oh my
god.
So
before we get too ahead of ourselves, because there's a lot of people who are reading, oh, Tobias got hired by WB, and they're going to think that, he's coming back to work with Ed. He's at the WB Games San Diego branch, which is obviously not in Chicago. So...
This is not like the Netherrealm brand.
No, so here's the thing, though.
Brand.
This does open up the possibility, much like Rocksteady and WB Montreal. This opens up the possibility that there will be, like, Mortal Kombat side games that Tobias could be working on.
Oh my god.
I'm not saying it'd be really great if we could just maybe send all the scripts over to John to have him vet them before they're published, but that would be great.
They're not going to do that. See, so here's the thing.
That would be great.
I have always said that I was a little bit wary of the idea of Tobias ever coming back to the Chicago branch, to NRS, because I don't think that he'd have the authority he had when he left.
No, probably not.
But if he's part of a new studio, maybe he could be the project lead instead of Ed on the side titles, and he gets to decide things.
God. But yeah, I don't want to get ahead.
Well, I think it's I don't want to say obvious, but I think it's highly likely that the reason why they hired him again is because of his association with Mortal Kombat. I think that they... My hope is for, like, a Fire and Ice game. That's my fucking biggest hope with this idea that he's running his own studio with Warner Brothers for MK side games, that he finally makes Fire and Ice.
Look,
and we see some sick shit. We see some sick shit in the Netherrealm, like a fucking Draman boss or a Quan Chi boss, and we see some shit with the Sector and shit.
I'm really curious to see what Tobias would make of any of the characters who were created after he left. And
that's another thing I've been thinking of.
Yes, because would he use a Draman, or would he make up his own guys?
That's the thing. Like, I think we know that he likes Bo, but does he like the likes of Draman and Moloch is the issue.
I mean, Bo Raicho is sort of up his alley flavor-wise. He likes the Shaw Brothers flavored stuff.
Not coincidentally, something that's actually been missing in the series for quite some time.
This is true.
Yeah. Again, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but I would literally slap down the money blind for anything MK comes out to actually do in an official capacity. I miss his influence. We've all missed his influence for a very long time. We don't need to discuss this. I mean, us old-timers do at least. But
yeah, I mean, the thing about
seeing what things could be nowadays with him at any kind of helm.
I mean, the thing is that
no pressure at all.
You can argue that, I mean, MK4 creatively kind of had a taste of run out of ideas, and Tao Feng was obviously not good. So there's a question of what is Tobias really bringing to the table. I would say this:
concepts. There is some cool concepts in Tao Feng. It's just the development is not the best.
What I would say is that the issue with NetherRealm Studios as a command structure is that we Mortal Kombat fans are looking for something with a rich story. And Ed Boon was a programmer before he became head producer. He was not the guy who created all the characters. He obviously had input. He was not the guy who drew their costumes. He's not the guy who wrote their bios. John Tobias did all of the creative storytelling aspects of the franchise from 1 to 4. Well, most of them. There were other artists like Vogel and Baron. But Tobias comes at things from the perspective of an artist and a writer. He cares about storytelling, and he knows the tropes
quite.
and the patterns and the templates, you know, like the hero's journey concept. He knows archetypes, how to tell a good story with a normal structure that has a satisfying ending, which is something that has been missing in the franchise, not just because of the reboot of 9, but if you look at things like the storytelling in MKX was very... The term for it is postmodern, where, you know, your main character is a Mary Sue, basically.
Essentially. I think another important aspect of John Tobias is that he's... I mean, the term has had a negative connotation these days, but in the 90s, he was a giant fucking weeb. I want more Eastern aspects to MK. I want more of his vision for the Netherrealm.
That's true. And even the thing is, even when Tobias is working with something like MK Special Forces was supposed to be a Sonya Jax Kano game, right?
Yeah.
His conception of the Black Dragon Gang was very Yakuza influenced. So you still get your Eastern influence even when your main characters are the American military, when you're dealing with John, which is nowadays a concern whether or not we will get those flavors in an MK game.
Yeah.
So it's definitely there's no guarantee that WB San Diego is making Mortal Kombat content at all.
I think it's highly likely though because of the
if you were some random Warner Brothers producer, why would you hire an old washed up guy like John Tobias unless it's because of his...
Hey,
dude.
I'm being harsh. I'm being harsh on purpose because I'm talking corporate. The point of view of a corporate guy
does stuff.
The point of view of a corporate guy. Okay. That's not how I feel. That's how some suit would feel, right? Because the guy's been working in mobile games for a while now.
Yeah, Farmville, Facebook shit.
Obviously, Razer does not think John Tobias is old and washed up.
No, look, Warner Brothers hired John Tobias. That statement speaks for itself.
Yeah, I think they picked him up because his name is synonymous with Mortal Kombat.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there are reasons for that.
Like I said, I think that side titles like Mythologies and Shaolin Monks are ripe up his fucking alley. Like I said, I think that a Shaolin Monks type game, whether canon or not, would be the sickest fucking shit.
I mean, we've all been waiting a long time for more content that's not a fighting game.
Mm-hmm.
Just give me that Katana Melina backstory set 10,000 years ago.
Exactly.
And I don't think anything else at all has combat. Nothing. Discussing.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Tao Feng 2, baby.
So, were there any questions for us?
Do we have anything in the several months queue?
Wasn't there a third thing we were going to talk about? Oh, right! There was a leaked sort of MK Arcade collection.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, there's maybe... an HD version of MK1.
This has been rated for current gens, and the rating specifically mentions art. It do.
What does it mention? You kind of
let me go back to it. It's on my Twitter. The rating and description specifically says Mortal Kombat Collection Online is that fans always wanted. Updated art, gameplay, and online features provide an incredible experience that revive the classic.
Yeah, that sounds like an HD collection.
Yeah, it really does. This does not sound like another collection of simple, lazy points.
You know, like the one they wouldn't let Django make.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. Like, this sounds like some shit that Django was involved with.
I mean,
no, I had nothing to do with this.
Yeah, no, there was the company after they said no to yours.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah, they took your idea, and like often like media happens, they took your idea, your fucking awesome idea, and go, this is good, but let's give it to a garbage studio.
No. Blind Squirrel are great guys. I have nothing against those guys. Those guys are cool.
Do you know them?
Nothing that went on with us had anything to do with them or vice versa.
Why does Shad have the feeling that this episode heavy editing? Up?
Oh, I don't think there'll be any editing.
Oh, Shad tried.
Yeah, it's all good.
I mean, the editor is already busy with an episode of The Lost.
That is true.
Fair enough.
And I mean, the audio is fine, except for the fact that you keep cutting out a little bit here and there.
That is true, Shad.
I'm hearing you guys cutting off, though.
Well, that's because you're the one see, it's on your end. The recording is my end, and I only hear you cutting off.
It's never on my end. This happens when... Oh, this is so frustrating.
I'm just saying, like, I don't hear Smoke Man or Django cutting off.
Well, what the shit?
It's fine. It's only a little bit here and there. We still get the gist.
Like I said, heavy editing. Send the other file tomorrow.
I am literally going to put this up just the way it is, like, half an hour after we stop recording.
This is why we've lost live, members coming into our... listening to us.
No, we've lost people because the game, that's the flow of, before the game is out, everybody wants to know, about the game. And then once the game is out, people get bored of the game and they stop listening to all the news about the game.
You're sure this is not the winter of our discontent?
I mean, it's always the winter of my discontent.
Wah, wah. But no. Back to Django and Blind Squirrel.
The winter of my discontent has been made glorious summer by Scorpion's Revenge.
Yeah.
I can see the dawn from here. It's a new feeling for me. Hope on the horizon.
It's because it's 1 a.m. and it's February now. Happy February, everybody.
Happy February.
2/1/2020.
So, questions, though. We were going to read some questions from the chat.
So, Jimmy the Wrestler asked us, should this be successful, what MK animation stories would we... Sure. I think that we've already established that we kind of want...
So for those of you who can't hear what Chad was saying because of the cutting out...
Is it still happening?
Yeah, a little bit that time, yeah. So the question was, what other animated movies would we like to see? I think we've all said that we'd love MK2, and I think the main reason that we would give an answer like that as opposed to I want to see so-and-so's backstory is because, when you're concerned how many you're going to get, you want the meat and potatoes.
Personally, I would love MK4.
I mean, I think one of the appeals of getting MK2 for me is, like I said, back in the 90s, they always skipped 2. They'd go straight to the invasion. The other 2 has so many important parts of the narrative in it. It's, it's the introduction of Kuai Liang. It's the part where Kitana actually, joins the heroes. You can put her in MK1 early if you like, but the important things for her to do narratively happen in 2.
I think for character development's sake, I think they're going to do the MK9 thing with Kitana.
I mean, even if you do that, she's still, it still basically follows... because in the movie, Kitana was in the tournament, and she was good right away. And she joins Liu Kang and Raiden's side right away. But in MK2 and MK9, what you get is a Kitana who is, either still bad or playing pretend at bad, and during the second tournament is when her turn matters, because it's before the invasion. Like, the important thing about the lore of MK2 and 3 is that the good guys knew MK3 was coming ahead of time because Kitana had been spying for them.
True.
And, I mean, you didn't get that in 9, but you got sort of the dressing around it. The point is that Liu Kang and Kitana hooked up as a couple in 2. And in the second tournament part of 9. Like, as far as, like, it looks like in Scorpion's Revenge, she's just going to be a fight.
That's
like there might be hints. Like there might be like in MK9 when she shows up in the first tournament to assassinate Liu, and he's sort of playful with her, and then at the end he's like, "I'm going to pretend this never happened. I wish we had met under better circumstances," and it's like a little flirty, and it's like a hint of things to come. I think that's what we'll get in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
But like the meat of her turning on Shao Kahn, narratively, I associate that with the thing that comes right before the invasion starts, which is MK2.
Yeah.
So like that's a big chunk of why 2 is an important story. And, you know, the reason they always skip it in the 90s is because it's about another tournament. It's sort of plot-wise a repetition.
It's the executive going, they already seen that.
Yeah.
Do something different.
Yeah.
It's that stupid shit.
Yeah, but for me, like, and another thing, like, if you're doing one the way the movie's doing it, where you're not shoving Baraka in where he doesn't belong and characters like that, you need MK2 to introduce Baraka, Kitana, Mileena, Kung Lao, Kuai Liang, you know, Jax is going to be in this one, but half the main cast, the recurring cast, the guys we always see in every game after game after game, their introduction is MK2. And you need to be careful about when you introduce people, because if you do it like the 90s did, where it's like the first movie and then Annihilation has way too many characters and most of them don't have any real screen time. Their names aren't even said. If you pace out the introductions, people get the time they deserve to develop.
That's another thing that I don't like about the criticisms of this movie, where they're complaining like, "Oh, it's just MK1 again, same old shit." I'm like, do you even like Mortal fucking Kombat, or do you just like the identity and character?
The thing is that, and this is something you get with superhero movies too, where they're constantly like, "We're tired of seeing origin stories, just get to the action." And it's like, look, this character has never had a movie before. You have to start with the origin. Or, look, this universe has been rebooted. We have to see how things start, because, like, linear order is real life. Like, you have to show the beginning to get to the middle and the end.
Yeah.
So anybody who ever says, don't do the first one again, don't listen to those people. And I'm not just talking about Mortal Kombat, I'm talking about media in general. Anybody who wants to skip the origin story when it's a retelling doesn't know how to write.
Yeah, agreed. Fucking, I don't know. I see a lot of people on, like, fucking... These are bad places, by the way, but I see this shit on Reddit and Twitter a lot of people complaining that it's about the first MK tournament.
It's a lot of 14-year-olds just kind of... If a tree falls in the wood and no one gives a shit, you know? Their voices are noise.
Yeah. It's a lot of like, oh, I've already seen that already. Well, what do you fucking want? Shitty-ass fucking MK11 time bullshit? Like, get the fuck out of here. Go watch Destiny or some shit.
I will say, so, to answer the question, I mean, obviously, we're going to say MK2 because we're worried about how many of these we're getting. But if we had like an infinite amount of movies on the horizon, which ones would we want to see most? I would say stuff like I want to see an adaptation of Mythologies. I want to see, the Katana Melina backstory. The same things that like side games about, basically.
Yeah, Mythologies ain't happening. Or if it is, it's not ending the way it should.
Yeah, I mean, if it were in the same canon as Scorpion's Revenge, they'd have to change it because they're doing Scorpion's origin different.
Also, Bihan is clearly a completely evil person nowadays, and
I considered him an evil person in Mythologies.
Yeah, but you're not going to get any of like the kind of almost made it struggle depicted therein.
I mean, the thing about whether or not the way Bihan is portrayed in Mythologies is he's more of like a whiner. He's more of a guy who will like kill a guy and then somebody will be like, I can't believe you killed that guy, and he'll make up an excuse. Whereas the Bihan we have now will say an edgy line like, yeah, I fucking killed him, what about it? That's the difference. Yeah. But they're still both killers.
Yeah.
It's the difference between, yeah, I did it, what about it, and I had to do it. If I didn't do it, he'd have killed me, He
nearly stabbed me in the neck at first.
Like, if I didn't kill him, if I didn't do my job, the Lin Kuei would kill me, because I was hired to kill him. I had to do it.
I don't think you're going to get an animated movie.
No, I would like... I would like it because I would like to see... There's a lot of things introduced in that game that are cornerstones of the lore, and a lot of them are like text backstory. Like, I'd like to see the original fight between Raiden and Shinnok thousands of years ago. Mm-hmm. I'll take anything where Serena's on screen.
Yeah, I wouldn't count on anything.
I'm just saying, like, wish fulfillment. If you knew that you could make 1 billion MK animated movies in the same continuity, so you didn't have to worry about getting MK2, what would you also like?
Well, I mean, give me, like, the entire Lin Kuei development as a single movie between 2 and 3. Go all the way. Show things that are happening behind the scenes. And, like, have that actually end with Sub-Zero and Smoke coming back and finding Cyrax and Sector there.
So basically, Cyber Initiative, the movie.
Pretty much.
That would be pretty cool, actually.
Yeah. I've always maintained that it actually needs to be its own game. That Sub-Zero and Smoke, Lin Kuei in general, as a clan, could carry a game by themselves. There's no shortage of, like, elemental characters that you could actually introduce if you really felt like it. We already know that not everybody has to be generic Ice Ninja NPC.
No, in fact,
Cyrax is proof of that, and I'd like to see more variation on that.
I personally would like to see something set in the Shokan society. Like, I always imagine something like for the MK tournament where the Great Kung Lao won, where like the Shokan like fighting and seeing who is going to be Shao Kahn's representative in the next MK tournament. And I want that to be Goro's like time to shine as the main character.
Yeah, I think there's like I don't know what the plot would be, but I feel like there's a vague section of like the generals of Outworld, a story you could tell revolving around Reiko, Goro, and Kotal.
Mm-hmm.
About like, some of them, like, Goro was there when Oshtek was invaded, and so there's like a rivalry there, and also like the dynamics between those three characters who are all kind of like Shao Kahn's top guys over the years, and like maybe how Reiko died and Goro became the general. And, you know, I would like to see something about the three of them.
Well, I would also include Kintaro and Shiva.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're doing, like, a focus on the Shokan Society in particular.
Like, I have this headcanon where fucking, the Shokan view their... Well, this is under the assumption that, like, the fire-breathing moves that Goro has is canon, where they refuse to use the fire-breathing powers under their code of honor. But the Tigrar don't give a shit. They use their fire powers like... They don't give a shit. They don't give a shit about any of that sort of code bullshit. And that's why they're kind of viewed as undervalued in Shokan society. But if you were to learn sort of some sort of like sorcery, like say Shiva does, because in MK3 she can conjure it with her hands, maybe they can earn that right to use that kind of thing. Which also ties into Goro's move from MK1 where he fires the green fist. Because he earned that right to...
I think there's probably something interesting in there.
Mm-hmm.
I think, like, an exploration of Shokan, like a deep dive into their society, and we find out more about, like, where the Tigrar even come from, and why they're, the lower caste, and if there are any other castes too, because like just having two is kind of weird. I mean, you could do something there. I'm not sure what like the plot would be, but if we're just like talking about characters we'd like to get their own thing, yeah, I could see like a Shokan thing, and you'd get to like do centaurs, fucking, because.
Right.
Especially in an animated thing where you don't have to worry about, like, oh, can we make them work in the gameplay or whatever, you know?
Yeah, that'd be fucking nice.
Could you imagine if centaurs mattered again?
It'd be so nice.
See, I think there are so many areas of the lore that are... to shine a spotlight on that they're never going to get in a game would be amazing. And I think, you know, if you ask that question of, like, the randos on Twitter, everybody's just going to say, like, something said in Edenia before it was invaded, but that's, like, the last thing on the list for me. Because there are so many other things that we haven't seen, and we have seen Edenia several times, like...
Yeah, Edenia is fucking boring. All those characters...
I want life in Shao Kahn's Court, the sitcom.
I like the General's idea. The General's is a good one.
Like I said, the Edenian sitting is not fucking interesting. And all those people that like those Edenian characters need to get a fucking life. Because they only see themselves as the characters.
Well, I think...
Look, I get what it's like to be 50 and have this wish fulfillment fantasy going on. Wearing black trench coats, not because of the Matrix, but because of Sephiroth. They're kids. It's what kids do. Kids like to pretend. And that's okay. The problem is, now the internet is more of an established thing, and every stupid bastard kid has a voice.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you why I think the idea of the Edenian, like, royal court as a setting is appealing to those particular groups of people, is that it's not a setting with a lot of... It's more drama than combat, and it's a lot of, like, relationships. It's, like, kind of like the Vampire Diaries of the Mortal Kombat universe, because it's, like... You look at those characters, Sindel and Rain and Tanya, and it's all just like, I wonder who's this week.
It's
soap opera.
I would get it. Like, I feel like there's some writing opportunity there, but I feel
I understand the appeal, but I'm not that audience.
No.
So what you're... Like sand through the hourglass. These are the days.
Yeah, basically that.
So those people, see, it's so strange because those are the people that say that they don't care about the male character. Dude, calm down.
Those people.
Calm down.
Oh boy.
Those MK fans don't I will talk about how MK9 ruined Scorpion and Shang and shit, and they'll be like, oh, I never noticed because those are the male characters. And it's just like, are you that fucking shallow?
The answer is yes.
Of course. They don't actually care because they're... I don't know what episode we got on this, but those people only like those characters because they like their positions. They wish they were kings and queens and princes and princesses. That's
those people again.
Look, man.
Nethercast, more like nether pants.
Fuck my points then. Jesus Christ.
No. We get it. We hate you hate the Twitter kids, the Tumblr kid. I get it too.
I'm just fucking 22 when I hate these people.
They're probably younger than you and hate you.
I can only educate them.
I don't think you can.
You can't teach someone who doesn't want to listen.
I can. I think I can.
I don't think you can.
There is some kind of intelligence under there.
I think you have to wait 5 or 10 years to reach it, though. Some people aren't even self-aware until they're 24.
Well,
I think that you have to wait 7 or 10 years to reach the level of cynicism. Otherwise, that's absolute point to try and teach the masses because they are by definition unwashed, unclean.
I have to ask:
am I seriously not that cynical yet?
Oh my, no! If you believe there's hope, you have miles to go before you win.
Oh no!
My position has come to be that, okay, so there's this one person on Twitter who's really obnoxious, and then you finally get through to them, then what? There's 999,999 to go. Maybe it doesn't matter what people on Twitter think, they're just shouting into the wind.
That's true. I don't know. Maybe it can spread. But that's a long shot.
I use my Twitter to shitpost, and in general, I use it because I have something to say, and I particularly care who's listening. If people are entertained, good.
I respond to people if they at me. That's pretty much what I do.
Yeah. So it's no one's there really looking for a lot of input or looking to have their mind changed. They're there to state their opinion and not so much to have it changed. Anyway, it's getting kind of late for me, and I gotta go to bed.
Yeah, I think that's good for now. We will do another episode probably in March when that Red Band trailer drops, right?
It is late, but did we talk about much about the new arcade collection?
We don't know enough about it to talk about it, I would say.
We know it's a thing. It's going to have new art.
Yeah, it describes itself as new art and new gameplay updates.
Yes.
Which could mean anything from HDified to a really cool sprite shader.
Sprite shader would be sick.
Would it?
I mean, do you want the old MK HD arcade collection?
No.
That was canceled?
I don't... No.
Not yours. Not yours. The one for that.
I'm not the guy to ask about this.
You're going to say?
We don't know anything about it.
It's just, It's interesting to see that some attempt has been made, not 2 console generations after the last collection, but the very next one. And it's, in fact, advertises having new art and new gameplay or whatever the hell that means. So I guess we'll have to just see.
I suspect that we will be chasing a theoretical upgrade of the arcade games every couple years for the rest of our lives.
I'm, generally speaking, okay with that.
I agree.
I'm not.
It's an open sore for you. We get it. Picking
It's
up
okay.
the scab.
It's all right. It's cool.
I mean, you shouldn't have stopped making the music. That's just sick.
Let's
I still listen to that shit at work, you know?
Me too.
I'm like, damn, Django's really good at what he does.
God bless you guys.
He's got a day job.
This is true.
Make a temple from MK3.
Just saying.
Making it okay. Yeah.
So
Make
are we done
whatever
for the
you
night?
want, and we'll
Have we
listen.
finally
Love you. That's what
covered?
we're saying.
I love you guys too. You guys are lovely.
We appreciate your contribution.
Yeah.
You can't see it now, but I'm making a Shang Tsung MK2 hands.
Me too.
Repeat that, Shad.
He's making rainbow hands.
I got
Yes.
it. I got it.
I'm cutting out again, aren't I?
A little bit.
A little bit.
Fuck!
I got it just fine though.
Don't worry about it. The episode's over.
Good night, people.
See you later, nerds.
See ya, dorks.
Good night, everybody.
You're still trying to win?